I have a feeling some people still don't know how powerful this Fantastic Four team is. I felt like this was good timing, so get your popcorn. This is going to be a long one. Oh, and when it comes to the new Fantastic Four movie, make sure to check out the Fantastic Four comics that actually connect with this actual movie live action universe. Yes, they have powers and abilities, but there's a lot more to them. They're creative with their abilities. They learn new things about their abilities. They evolve. There's smart people like Reed Richards of the group that has superpowers with his mind, basically, because you could argue his mind is scarier than his actual superpowers. Y'all ready for this large compilation video that I made based on my previous videos I've already made in the past? Just combine Mr. Fantastic. I know it's hard to imagine anybody, even with prep time, even if it's Reed Richards, it's hard to believe somebody with prep time can invent weapons or gear like the universal entropy gun that can blast with so much raw power it can actually hurt celestials and make them retreat. I know he has superpowers, but when you're this smart, do you need superpowers? It's just a bonus. He has weapons, or with prep time, he can make weapons this mighty. Reed Richards is a threat in the Marvel Universe. You know how Luffy's really durable to blunt stuff, but his rubbery nature will still allow him to be pierced or cut. Let's just say the same can't be said for Reed Richards. Even if you have adamantium Wolverine's claws, you still have issues cutting his rubbery elastic body. Despite these claws being able to cut literally anybody in the whole world, even beings that can withstand universes splashing in their face, he can still usually cut them, but he's having issues cutting Reed. And Reed's been blasted by Infinity Stones. And his rubbery body can insulate against electricity. You knew that already. On top of all this craziness, he could technically achieve infinite speed via time manipulation. Like, all he has to do is make everybody in the universe freeze in time for 4 minutes, and he can literally move while time is completely frozen. Oh boy, Reed Richards. When it comes to the superhero team in Marvel, known as the Fantastic Four, it's easy to say that the Rocky Monster brute powerhouse of the group is the strongest of the group. I mean, we literally see him having friendly weightlifting contests with Hulk-ish type beings. I mean, we even see him kind of give Hulk issues to the real Hulk. It's easy for you to assume the Invisible Woman powerhouse of the group is the strongest, especially when she can literally make a whole planet invisible and shield the whole planet from the punches temporarily from powerhouses like the Sentry or Fantastic Four members like the Human Torch, who can literally set planet-sized things ablaze. So when you have this kind of powerful beings on the Fantastic Four, nobody ever thinks somebody that can stretch would be one of the most powerful. I mean, many of the characters have went through their fair share of evolutions, but the Thing, one of the mightiest of the group, even said so himself about Reed Richards. Even though he's considered the weakling out of the four, he's as strong as anyone, according to the Thing. He's strong, quote unquote, for a multitude of reasons. Part of the reason why you can look at him being strong is because of his intelligence, his brain knowledge, his power. I mean, sure, thanks to an accident, he has complete molecular control over every part of his body, but you can almost say his intelligence was his first power before he even got powers. And then his powers made him be able to improve his already crazy intellect, because he can stretch his brain and make it physically bigger. Look at all his education. Evidently, his intellect is like a family thing. Well, his dad was like a scientific genius. Their inventions and discoveries made their family quite wealthy. I mean, he was already taking college courses at age 14. And you guys know of the famous stuff of them going out into space, but intense cosmic rays penetrated the ship's shielding and irradiated the crew, forcing them back to Earth. But of course, they had been mutated. And this was basically the beginning of the squad, you know, of the Fantastic Four, one of the many teams in Marvel. Thanks to his physiology, he's really, really hard to hurt. We literally see bullets get shot at him and they bounce off. This brings me back to his evolution. There are times in comics where he states he can take any impact except for like an atomic missile. He's implying like he has some sort of limits. And if he stretches too long, it'll leave him in a weakened condition for hours. But at the same time, when he stated this stuff, this was in earlier comics when he has made improvements over time, because it's literally stated in their lore, their bodies constantly absorb cosmic energy. There was even times in comics in his adventures where they would get weakened, or even to the point where his stretchy power would be gone all the way. He ended up getting his powers back, but there's implications he's actually mightier than he was before. So yeah, just because he says he has a certain limitations in the early part of his career doesn't mean that's like his permanent limitation throughout. There's this thing known as progression. It's like multiple times he states that he's greater than he was before. Ben agrees. Thanks to certain adventures, not just Reed, but the crew in general, the Thing, Invisible Woman, they've been made stronger, younger than before. So let's analyze Reed and his physiology. You might as well forget shooting bullets, even if you shoot it in his mouth. I mean, he's literally kind of monologuing to the readers, talking about what are the limits of his ability. He basically says he can shape himself into virtually limitless things, just like you're going to see a lot of examples like that throughout this video, and a special costume composed of unstable molecules, which can contract as my body does. They even say, yes, he has great powers, but his intellect is what makes him the leader of the Fantastic Four. So it's no shock he can stretch. He can kind of change form, get bigger, get like a literal muscle form, stretch this far in the sky, across, or in the air. It gets crazy. On the lengths, he can stretch. All the shapes turn into a box, chain, springs. By allowing his cohesion in his elastic form to drop to absolute minimum, he can get liquidy, shapeshift into a dinosaur. He can elastically reconfigure one's brain tissue in order to convincingly match a generic Kang's neural signature. Like, yeah, he's smart. He can turn into scary shadow monster creatures that can kind of terrorize you. Shape himself into like his own or telescope. Somehow can tighten his skin so the bugs won't be able to bite him. And apparently due to his stretchy nature, he doesn't bruise. Reed can stretch himself as thin as a single molecule. He can get so thin to go in circuitry like this. Going into a computer terminal. Let's really get into his creativity of his stretchy power like quick. Like, he can make himself into a slingshot of all sorts, slingshot other beings away, become like his own glider or parachute. He's part of the reason why you see certain characters like get slingshotted to like Galactus, like the Thing here, doing this to Galactus. Just look at this mess. I'm giving you different examples of what he's done via creativity, making a giant hammer out of his hand, giant blanket, parachute type stuff to slow down stuff, similar to how Elastigirl did in her Incredibles movie. Yep, Reed can do this too to slow down stuff, even over a town. Look what he did. He became as big as a building blocking the path. Wall, trampoline, shapes his hands into paddles, couch, missile, sea creature type shapes I can't think of the name of. He can make his fist with spikes in it, hammers with spikes in it, spikes throughout his body, not his hands, fans. He can do stuff to his inside of his body thanks to his physiology to heighten his sense of smell, literally make slides for his kids to have fun in. He can put his eyeball in his hand to look in different angles. Like, that's kind of creepy. He can kind of make himself have more than one limb by just creating more limbs out of his body, make blades out of his fingers, literal nets out of his hands. His fingers can act as extra hands and extra limbs, one could say. Like Dr. Octopus. Yeah, this is just straight up shape-shifting at this point. What else would you call this? You sure this is just stretching? The guy has changed his voice so Doombots will listen. We've seen him turn into a ball, get shrunk small enough to fit in a jar, shapeshift his hands into actual keys. Like, I know you can stretch, but he literally made his face look like somebody else. This has happened more than once. He even said he can shape change. Even the newer stuff. Yep, it's very common. And before I really start talking about how strong he is, I want to briefly go over the fact he actually has fighting skills. This is proven because there's occasions where he literally is depowered, doesn't even have his stretchy abilities, doesn't have his powers, and he can still hold his own in certain situations where he has no choice but to just use his straight up hand-to-hand combat with no super strength or nothing. It's talked about how Mr. Fantastic is one of the world's greatest experts when it comes to judo and karate. There's people that think just because he doesn't have his stretchy powers, he's completely useless. He still has his army training, Reed Richards says, and therefore he's still giving these people the hands with no power. Even good fighters like Black Knight are even surprised at how skilled he is. I bet you in a million years you never thought you would see Reed Richards holding a blade, but now you know. He even knows pressure points like nerve strikes. The way Reed works is like, yeah, he's stronger than normal humans, of course, but like lifting heavy stuff is not necessarily his specialty. But the way his power works, he can kind of hit hard, lift a lot of weight thanks to this rubbery nature. Like, he can literally stretch his limbs out to literally catch missiles. Due to his whiplashy type nature of how he can stretch something, cock something back, then toss it like a slingshot. He can throw people very far because of this. He can make his hands literally larger and lift boulders he shouldn't technically be able to lift because of his stretchability, boulders that probably have to weigh at least 5 or maybe close to 10 tons or something. What do you think? You think a fair bare minimum for him to be able to lift should be at least 10 tons or something? That should be fair, right? We've seen him lift and toss this robot, squeeze this robot's head off, straight up crushes this being with his hands. This has to prove he's superhuman, lifting these big girders. I mean, this is where it gets tricky. He can literally lift up heavier stuff like building size stuff and whiplash him, push them somewhere else just from him stretching like a darn giant slingshot. So technically, I guess you could say he could lift up building size things like this. via slingshotting, one could say, by stretching to his limits apparently. I mean, due to his physiology, we've seen him restrain a lot of different creatures or beings. Even if they're large and powerful, we've seen him attempt to restrain beings like Onslaught, like along with everybody else, of course, team effort. Literally did all of this, stretching to his limit to capture this large building sized creature. You could say he could use his stretchy elastic body as like his durability is kind of helping him restrain beings. This doesn't really have nothing to do with muscle rather than just his elastic nature. Literally tie them up. Even beings like the Thing have issues with him. Big robots, Luke Cage, all of these beings he could wrap up at the same time. Doctor Doom, tying up larger creatures like this that have to weigh over 100 tons or 50 plus tons. He's very useful in tangling beings up. It's like you could look at him like a giant shoestring, one could say. Beings like the Hulk can overpower him like the powerhouses can, but even he annoys them. But like, yeah, this eventually happens. It's constantly proven though he can actually give building sized beings issues, tangle them up. It's not even an outlier at this point. It just happens too often. Like it's feats like this. Like how the heck do you even measure this? Like he's literally holding back like multiple beings in the Captain Britain Corps. So far we already know he can tangle up building sized structures. But I want to talk about the weight of his hits. He can redistribute 70% of his body's density into his right fist to increase his punching power. That's why like he can literally do what Luffy does from One Piece and enlarge his fist and punch with more weight, like how he splattered Sandman with his punch here and with a larger fist. He can hit hard enough to break metal, concrete, you name it. We've seen him one-shot knock out all kinds of beings to where they're sleepy by smacking them with his fist. He can punch beings through glass, punch beings with so much weight that they warp the car or vehicle they land on. All of this happened because of Richards' punch. We've seen the weight of his hits punch Grey Gargoyle and crack all this brick. Beings he hits just goes flying. He don't even have to cock it back. He can just hit with straight headbutts and make these beings drowsy. Don't be doing this to these monkeys, man. We've seen him slam Doom, punch demons, roll and mess up all this equipment. When he's trapped in ice, he can bust out. Look how he hits Sandman here with a sneak attack. His arm goes around the wall with a hammer fist. Look at the weight of his hits and what they do to Spider-Man warping the car. Beings that are literally bigger than buildings, he can like literally make them feel his hits. So yeah, he can definitely punch down buildings with his super punches. So you know how in comics there's like clones, you know, so let's say Reed has fought like an exact clone of himself and he can literally damage himself with strikes. This is insanity considering how durable Reed Richards is. And we've literally seen him get the upper hand on his own clone. This literally means if he was to punch himself, he can actually damage himself, even though a lot of powerhouses have trouble harming him due to his elastic nature. I mean, literally, Reed Richards being able to harm himself is crazy considering his body is completely malleable and he states he cannot be crushed. I mean, his body can withstand cars ramming into it. People blast him and he shoots beings back with more force. There's even times where the Thing has issues punching and hurting him. And you guys know I have respect for the Thing. He's easily a planet buster. Beings that can easily destroy planets have issues with this guy's body. Powerhouses like Namor, he says he can't hurt him. He's indestructible. Namor be out here fist fighting with the Hulk and at times making him drowsy. There's even stuff that can damage Ben's skin. You know how durable the Thing is. Just to give you a small example of the Thing's physiology transformed from cosmic energies, like this guy's literally a rock, harder than rock. And there's beings out here that have a hard time cracking Ben's skin. These opponents hit Reed with stabby type stuff and he's still okay after stuff like this. Even when the Thing is powered up, the Thing is literally a Hulk-ish or like slightly below Hulk tier beings and stuff. We literally see this amped, powered up Thing by Noel punch Reed Richards. Even flamey type stuff isn't a guarantee to work against Reed's durability. It's occasions like this that imply that Reed himself can level buildings. I mean, like, look at all this, like, literally hold in with his rubber ability just to focus it somewhere else, and it does this. This is all the stuff he was containing. This has to give you respect on his durability because we literally seen him and other heroes get blasted by the same blast. Like, look at these powerhouses. The Thing, the Hulk, Colossus, powerhouses, Reed right here. Notice how powerhouses like Colossus is KO'd. I guess Captain America didn't get hit directly because how the heck did Colossus get knocked out on Captain America's side? Ain't that weird? Reed got blasted by Galactus and he's okay after that. Not saying Galactus was trying to murder him because I'm pretty sure Galactus probably could murder him if he wanted to, but that doesn't seem to be what happened here. I guess the best way to understand Reed's strength or punching power is by looking at what he can withstand. Like, there's literally stuff that can make a crater nearly a mile across. If you guys know anything about nuclear type bombs, you know that kind of stuff A 20 or 30 megaton nuclear bomb would create such a blast like that. And that's the kind of power Reed Richards has to be able to shield from and stay okay after that. Because you see this blast right here, for example, Reed had to withstand. These blasts were like consistent blasts that, Reed got hit with, of course. So realistically, in order for Reed to be able to hurt or knock out himself with his own punches, due to his absurd durability, his punches would have to be the weight of certain level nuclear bombs. It's hard to measure which type, but he has to be able to hit with certain level nuclear bombs. In order to do any real damage to himself, I mean, we literally see him do this damage to his own clone self. So yeah, maybe smaller nuclear bombs he should be able to hit with. You see what I mean? Way more than just busting through buildings. Just being disrespectful, realistically, his fists would have to be able to level certain mountains based on him being able to damage himself if himself can just realistically take nuclear type explosions. You see what I mean? Craters that can make stuff nearly a mile wide type stuff. That's durability. His punches should be similar if he can hurt himself, an actual clone of himself. You see? I mean, we don't need to get into Cyclops' blast, and Reed says Cyclops' blast tingle. He even talks about that they may hurt him, but they might not harm him really. Like long-term damage, I'm assuming when he means harm. Like the thing himself literally has trouble damaging him. And this is probably the greatest durability feat of all time. Like all these different powerhouses like hitting him. I mean, we're talking about some of these powerhouses that can literally shake the universe right here. Like, I mean, right here, he literally got hit with Infinity Stone. Blast. Wolverine's somebody that can cut literally anybody, including the Hulk in this picture. You see Wolverine having issues cutting Reed Richards with his adamantium. These adamantium claws can cut beings that can withstand universes splashing in their face. I'm just letting you guys know that. Like, this is insanity. Even Dakin tried to do some damage to him with his blades. What do you think, though? Do you think without his tech, his blunt hits, without even talking about his scientific inventions, you think his hits would feel like a nuclear bomb hitting you in the face at the very least, based on all this information? Based on him being able to hurt himself and durability-wise? I mean, when you see him do stuff like this, it makes you believe, yeah, he's way worse than just nukes. You see what I mean? How come clones of Reed Richards can make Hercules look like they have discomfort on their face? Make this make sense, guys. This is somebody that can support the weight of the universe on his back, hold the universe with his muscles for 3 hours and crap. This was the Atlas holding the heavens feet duty stuff, the classic Atlas feat of him holding the infinitely immeasurable type weights like the heavens. And Reed Richards' clone can do this to Hercules. I'm just saying. I mean, let's look at the history of Reed Richards giving powerhouses of Marvel issues like Namor. I've already brought him up. I'm bringing him up again. I mean, he's literally stated to be the Lord of the Seven Seas. We've seen the weight of Reed Richards' punch do this to Kang because he can increase the weight of his fist. Powerhouses like Annihilus, we know that are a powerhouse. This is the same Annihilus that can take blasts from Scarlet Witch, guys, and be getting hit by Thor. Yet Reed did this. You see, you guys know how smart Dr. Doom is. Dr. Doom apparently thought he had him trapped. Reed Richards was still able to power out of Dr. Doom's trap. This is incredible. I mean, he's even got the upper hand over Dr. Doom in hacksy ways because he can find his hidden circuitry. He can stretch his way under, get a weak point, basically. Let's just say he got his own muscle form where he would juice himself up. It didn't seem like he did too much damage to Onslaught here, but I just think it's cool that he was able to bulk himself up. And they, quote, give him like the Thing-like proportions. So he literally hulked out and punched Onslaught here. We've even seen him fight gag characters like freaking Gwenpool. Somebody we seen hurt and kick. Hell Lords like Mephisto. So far, I've purposely not been going over his intellectual stuff because that stuff just kind of makes him jump tears when you talk about Reed Richards with prep time, or if you add in his inventions, because he can kind of fuse his intellect with his powers too on top of that. That's part of the reason why he's able to do all this creative stuff I've already shown. There's this girl in current Marvel Comics that's apparently the smartest, right? Apparently. Notice how she is apparently the smartest, smarter than Reed Richards apparently, but she says the smartest man in the world. Like, she corrects herself, still calls him the smartest man in the world. There's characters that compare Reed Richards' intellect to her, some of the top tiers. There's times where even Stark believes that Reed is smarter than him. There's like a gazillion comics I'm not going to show in this video of them calling him the smartest man in the world before this latest new comic stuff. Apparently, both these characters are smarter than Reed Richards, apparently. And even Reed says he wants the future to thrive. In fact, Reed is so smart. There was a time Tony got powered up. You know Tony Stark's really smart. Iron Man, right? Iron Man was literally sharing his intellect with everybody. Like, yeah, everybody was getting upgraded in intellect. It stated, "You're all as brilliant as I am, and so is every living person in the city." Iron Man is ridiculously smart, and he shared his intellect, but apparently this only made Reed Richards dumber, implying that Reed is above him. I mean, Reed is so smart to where he's even studied equations that allows you to predict the future mathematically. He invented this thing he was reading about. It was the first entirely new field he's ever created. He can apparently predict societal trends to an extreme high degree of accuracy. He's been able to do it for decades. But they say it's useless for predicting actions of individuals, blah, blah, blah. But that's still cool. He has ways to predict stuff. He's using his stretching ability with his intellect to make some finger pointer crap to hack into the devices. Wow, this looks smart. He can literally stretch his consciousness to see new possibilities and connections and grow new brain structures to outplay him. Reed's body and brain have become completely malleable. He has thoughts and ideas and sensations we can barely dream of. He has plenty of ways to communicate with beings, even if he's not physically talking. And I bet you a part of the reason why he's so smart is it always helps to have a photographic memory. There's a reason smart beings like Spider-Man come to him for stuff. I guess his only weakness is magical stuff, because you can't solve stuff that's irrational and doesn't make sense. I guess it's got to be some kind of pattern. I guess part of this is due to him having a literal teammate that can go invisible. And it's kind of mentioned here about how his wife can go invisible. This is probably part of the reason why he probably knows how she's able to do this, to modify her molecular structure to keep from being detected. He knows she's here even though she's invisible. Reed admits that there's certain things he doesn't specialize in as good as other characters that are smart in Marvel, like Dr. Octopus being good at radiation. So he acknowledges other scientific beings being better than him at certain things and what they specialize in or whatever. For example, he even talked about Hank Pym on how he is the foremost best biochemist on Earth. It would take me several weeks to master biochemistry to your level of expertise. So I'll let you know he believes that Hank got him in that particular aspect. Technically, he has gear that's technically instant death against time travelers. It will age you a millennia in every femtosecond. That's 1/quadrillionth of a second, guys. If you do the math correctly, that means every second somebody would age 1,000,000,000,000 years every freaking second. So all this blast got to do is blast you for 5 seconds. You'll be aging 5,000,000,000,000 years. This device is hacksy. Oh boy, let's talk about Reed Richards' inventions. He's able to suppress mutant genes because of this cloaking genes code X thing. He can isolate the mutant gene in an individual and superimpose a ghost gene over it, self-replicating until the entire body's DNA contains this. Though theoretically it's possible just to cloak it with a human genetic structure, currently the process lasts roughly 10 days until the ghost gene fades away. He has made literal devices via prep time somehow off screen, named Container Zero. This is a container that literally holds the source of pre-primordial power and energy that predates our very existence, and Reed is the one that discovered it. It's the type of energy that ends one universe and starts another. It will continuously spread, overriding our universe with another, and then out into the cosmos, blah, blah, blah. This energy is not dissimilar to that of the Big Bang cannons he used on Galactus. He's made all kinds of guns, like this one, for example. Some of this stuff is even unnamed. They literally state designed by Reed Richards. It's a signal device he made. Yeah. A literal universal translator, because they're in space a lot, so they got to be able to communicate with all the aliens and stuff. He has inventions that can mess up your perception, mess up your balance, distort you. There's implications he might have some tech, or he might know some hypnotism. Some of these inventions on this page, this is his about page, pretty much telling all his stuff. The Fantastic Car, robots, Herbert, a lot of this stuff you're going to see or saw already. The Galactus Buster, which I haven't even brought up yet. All kinds of different ships he's made over the years. Literally can do some Honey, We Shrunk the Kids type stuff and make something that shrinks beings. He even blasted this being with something he made that made him so big, it spread his molecules so thin, it made him not a threat anymore. It's literally explained, drifting across the universe, made thinner and thinner. He was too big to even do anything. Yeah, I know, this creature's weird. He's got devices that can teleport them to different dimensions, like in this occasion. I mean, he can travel pretty much anywhere he needs to, thanks to these teleportation devices. He makes, sometimes he even uses this to travel to the Council of Richards so he can meet other versions of himself throughout the multiverse and crap. Yeah, don't ask. There's a Council of Richards, a whole bunch of Richards throughout the multiverse that talk to each other. And yeah, a device to have a battle of mentality or battle of the brains. Reed made stuff so gases won't affect them. How the heck do you give somebody a galaxy for a gift? He wanted an eternity ring, so he scanned the universe for something nice and fashioned the ring himself. Literally gave his girl the galaxy. A micro galaxy, 74 inhabited worlds, and over 40 trillion couples in total, all loving each other like I love you. He made devices that can hit ghostly type beings. He can make stuff to suck up radiation out of beings. Radiation absorber. He has a remote control orbital public address system. He got this super TV he made that allows him to focus on the bottom of the sea, watching literally everything with this tech. He has an electronic X-ray camera using radioactive film. He apparently has stuff that can depower beings like the Human Torch forever permanently. Yeah, he made something that can take away powers. Reed Richards is part of the reason why a lot of their teamwork victories work. He even has time manipulation gear. He has a pulse gun that can overload and burn out their sensors, disabling them. And let me just give you a blueprint of like their tower, like the Fantastic Tower. Like this is like all these layers. A lot of this stuff is his inventions. Like, look at these vehicles. He can split them up into different pieces. I mean, the tower itself can fix itself. Yeah, I'm definitely getting Reed Richards for damage control and cleanup duty. Certain rooms in the tower can withstand a nuclear blast, has cameras to monitor everywhere of the building. He has devices that can let you know when earthquakes are going on. Just like the blueprint map I showed you, building can launch rockets. I mean, the picture I showed you kind of showed it anyway. So he thought of everything. You can't just teleport in here. And it's almost impossible for the Baxter building to experience a power outage. The building's robots themselves have powerful weapons. So let's talk about how hard he can hit, not just kind of his blunt punches, but his gear. Oh man, they're talking about Reed's intelligence, talking about how he can create scientific devices as easily as if they were simple childish toys. He made an air displacer vortex machine, a powerful vortex ray which can generate the force of a dozen hurricanes created by Mr. Fantastic. As an aid in weather control, becomes a deadly weapon under the evil guidance of Dr. Doom, easily blasting away buildings. Reed would never use this weapon for this kind of purpose, but he technically has gear that can blast away several blocks of buildings. We saw that when Dr. Doom used his stuff. He even has gear. This Demlo gun was mighty enough that if fired unchecked, it could have destroyed the entire city. He's literally created gear that's mightier than nuclear bombs or as powerful as certain nuclear bombs, stating one of his weapons could have destroyed the entire city. And let's be honest, in this tower, he legit has his own weapon collection area, a place with a whole bunch of gear. I would be willing to bet money that one of these weapons are like strong enough to bust a planet. Like, let's be honest. I mean, sure, he has haxy weapons, like weapons that can sap your strength. Like it was shown on this occasion with these vibro guns that like sap your strength. Like it was even working on characters like the Thing. I mean, look at these opponents they got to face up against. I'm pretty sure he has guns that can destroy planets. So yeah, he has gears that can blow away planets or stars, right? It would be strange if he didn't have gears based on the opponents he always fighting that couldn't destroy stars, you know? And let's just say, I don't know when he made this stuff. He made this stuff pretty much off screen. He has gear like the universal entropy gun, for example. That gun has blasts that can actually affect celestial beings, guys. This is crazy considering they're higher dimensional beings that even Skyfathers have issues defeating. Celestials' bodies can withstand blasts from themselves. Like, I know certain Celestials are higher tier than others, but like this Celestial, for example, Irisham, was so crazy. These three Skyfathers, Odin, Zeus being one of them, blasted this Celestial together, and he was okay after being blasted by all these Skyfathers. Just a friendly reminder, one Skyfather like Odin has the kind of blast power that can cause massive shockwaves which ripple across every plane of reality. Skyfathers can affect things on every plane of existence. I know Irisham is one of the strongest Celestials ever, but this just gives you just a ballpark of that. Even three Skyfathers, beings that can blow away universes, affect multiple planes of reality, all the planes of reality, shake the planes of reality. This is what their blasts do to Celestials. But yet Reed Richards has guns like the universal entropy gun that can affect beings that even Skyfathers have issues damaging, even making them retreat. He basically has guns that are more potent than universe destruction, multiple at that, because Celestials are higher dimensional beings, usually, that are different from other beings. Like, for example, there's a whole bunch of Reed Richards in the multiverse. When it comes to Celestials, there's only one true version of that particular Celestial. They're one being linked simultaneously at the same time. It's even talked about here. Like, I mean, we're talking about beings that can cause the actual Big Bang explosions that create universes. Like, you see the hands, like in planets and universes coming out of it. Yeah. Celestials. It's even talked about how the celestial beings are beings that apparently created the multiverse itself at the dawn of all things. It is said, apparently. You see why affecting these higher dimensional beings would pretty much prove he could easily destroy universes with his weapons or gear with laughable ease, or at least his guns have that kind of pressure behind it to affect these kind of beings that are higher dimensional. You could argue the reason why he can make these amazing weapons is because Reed Richards is aware there are higher dimensional beings and higher dimensional beings do exist. He acknowledges it. This is what makes Reed so dangerous with the power of being able to stretch. His mind, with the dang near limitless shapes you can make with his powers, is a lethal combination. This dimension is an illusion. It's just brain interpreting what it sees as a normal 3-dimensional space. He must find a way not only to see 4-dimensionally, but to also push himself through that unfamiliar, unintuitive region of space-time, and he's got only seconds to do it. It's a hard task, borderline impossible. Everything about him is built for 3 dimensions. He has to expand his mind and body into something they were never meant to understand, to something they never evolved to handle. That's when this man directs his entire being towards his limits and stretches them. Like what is going on here? Did he expand the higher dimensions? Like, what's going on? Yo, Reed is crazy. I mean, what is Reed Richards' Iron Man? He even got his own Galactus Buster. No telling how strong it was. We never got to see it in action. He calls it anti-Galactus suit. Watchers are beings that are cosmic type beings. Reed has guns that can literally drain Watcher tier beings. Watcher tier beings are stated to consistently have powers similar to Galactus. This kind of stuff is stated more than once. 2 Watchers battling, blasting each other. Like, their body can withstand this kind of energy, simultaneously battering thousands of different planes of reality. Stuff waging across the infinite rivers of reality. Yeah, Watchers can withstand this kind of stuff, blast with this kind of power. Whenever Celestials or Galactus is brought up, you see the Watchers being brought up when they're talking about power levels. And Reed literally has gear that can drain Watchers, y'all. He can make gear that can disrupt the power of cosmic cubes and crap. You're probably thinking, let's just speed blitz him before he gets a chance to use his gear or weapons, right? Well, here's the thing. When it comes to his reflexes, he's faced off against some of the fastest beings in the Marvel Universe. One of them being Dr. Doom, somebody that's always fighting fast beings. Like, he's literally avoiding Dr. Doom's blast, consistently reacting and reshaping his body to such. Reed has been shot. He can make these shapes with the speed of thought. Like right here when he attacks, they say moves with the speed of thought. Speed of thought. He was able to do all of this within split seconds. This is like super fast thinking under duress. That's why he's able to dodge all these different attacks from guns, rockets. Narration even talks about his reflexes being battle-honed reflexes, like partly muscle memory because he's used to battling. They even use words like blur. All these bystanders, like all these shards of glass, he was fast enough to save all these people. Like, these beings literally have guns. He literally blitzed all these guns out of these guys' hands before they can do anything. He can catch up the beings that are moving at Mach 3 type speeds, 3 times the speed of sound, and he still can catch these beings. So these guys might as well stop shooting at him. Even if you do hit him, it's not like the bullets will work anyway, but when it comes to moving in a straight line, it's even talked about they can get distance just like how their vehicles can go. Reed can legit react to lightning because when lightning was trying to hit somebody else, he was able to move them out the way in time of the lightning. So he's really freaking fast. Imagine being this rubbery, but also having the fighting speed to react to lasers. Consistently, you guys know how lasers are the speed of light. In this occasion, they're talking about sophisticated charged particle beams. Just in case you think he's aim dodging and you don't think he's actually light speed, they literally narrate Doom's force field lashing out in 2 directions at the speed of light. Richards is stretching himself to the ultimate. It appears to be moving only slightly slower than light. So Mr. Fantastic has all this brain and he can think ridiculously fast, can react and fight at light speed and stuff, like literally move around at these speeds with his rubber. There's legit speedsters in Marvel, like Quicksilver, for example, that can literally run faster than radio waves, meaning Quicksilver can outrun the speed of light. And we've seen Reed Richards react to speedsters on more than one occasion with Quicksilver and then another speedster here, for example. So he's not slow capturing these speedsters. I mean, if I'm being honest, isn't all this speed stuff irrelevant really when he could just pull out a device and literally completely freeze time around him, making a 4-minute time bubble? So you can make an argument that for 4 minutes, he can achieve infinite speed for 4 minutes. If everybody else is frozen, but if he decides to make himself not be frozen, everybody else is frozen in time but him. Being able to move while time is completely frozen, that's literally basically like having infinite speed. Like, you know how there's certain speedsters in DC that can manipulate time. They're basically super fast because of them manipulating time. That's how Reed can do with his tech via time manipulation. Like other magicians can kind of do stuff like this with their magic. This kind of is a way of mimicking infinite speed for 4 minutes. Because when you freeze everybody around you but yourself and you still can move while everybody in the universe is frozen, that's like basically like having infinite speed for like 4 minutes. Do you think Reed Richards is the smartest being or smartest human in Marvel? Whatever he might lack in brawn, he clearly makes up in brain. I mean, even Tony hooked him up with a battle suit that can also stretch along with his superpowers. This one time. Smart People Club, right? You respect it? What's your favorite feat in this video? What did you learn new about him? Did you already know he was this smart and strong? Did you know he can stretch and move that quick? You probably didn't know he had prep gear that can hurt literal higher dimensional beings. You probably didn't know that. He's a prime example of if he didn't have superpowers, he would still be a problem just because of his freaking mind. Invisible Woman has shields that even Jean Grey herself have issues getting through. On occasions with her brother known as Johnny, the Human Torch himself, she can compress plasma of Johnny's flame within the force field globe until it's dense and concentrated as a microscopic black hole. And she's a being that's so strong with her force field strength, she can trap gods in her force field. That's Sue Storm. Let's get into it. You would be surprised on how much improvement Invisible Woman has made through how time has went by. Like, can you believe there was a time she couldn't put a force field around an entire country? But later on in the future, she gets strong enough to where she can not only make an entire planet invisible, but put a shield or barrier around the entire planet when she couldn't do a whole country at one point, apparently. And shield from a being that can punch with the power of 1 million exploding suns. She can shield from beings like this. Yeah, she came a long way throughout her evolutions. Man, because you got occasions like this stated throughout her adventures that her powers permanently got increased to let you know that, yeah, she does increase as time goes by throughout her adventures. Her true potential was being realized, wanted to be realized. Part of the reason why she made progress is because there was a point she probably didn't know that it was herself was only limited to her imagination and will. It was even stated on occasions like this with Ronan that her powers is a manifestation of her own will. There's even characters that state that she's stronger than what they remember when they previously fought, so it shows that she makes improvements. You gotta love the progress that she's made over the years. She's strong enough currently to make the whole sun itself invisible and proceeds to doing so. Held it like this for hours. It shows she's came a long way in power. From not being able to put a shield around a country to being able to put a shield or make the entire sun invisible. Wide range now. She can threaten your life by putting a force field inside your body or cutting off your blood flow inside your organs. A heart attack she could just make you have. So yeah, a bloodlusted invisible woman is scary. When it comes to our planet Earth, Marvel has a similar planet Earth, the main difference being it's filled with superheroes everywhere. Seriously, if you're a villain, why the heck would you move to Marvel, New York? Like, it's literally just a bad idea. It's too many superhero teams that reside here. You just do your crime in California or something. But one of the superhero teams I'm talking about is not the Avengers, but the Fantastic Four, one of the members of their team in the Baxter building. I want to talk about the Invisible Woman. Sue Storm, known as the Invisible Woman, one could say she's the king of invisibility. She can make giant structures that used to be invisible, visible again. Obviously turn herself invisible and sneak into places nobody can see her. Makes her versatile because she can do Haxy type stuff like making your optic nerves invisible to where you're blind. Since she's the master of invisibility and technically force fields, since she can make force fields, she can sense other force fields. How does that even work? She can turn invisible and create her very own force fields for either defense or a bunch of other creative things like using it as constructs to battle or float or stand on top of to use as flight. Like, it's cool and all she can turn invisible, but she can make like invisible slides to traverse really quickly, to move faster than some of her fellow heroes and stuff. Just sliding. But let's analyze her, shall we? I mean, she's not the most impressive physically. She can pretty much amp her hits up by using her force fields around her limbs and stuff though. I mean, it's stated here that she can produce destructive force with her power, so yeah. She does have some sort of combat training, like for example here, stated she knows judo and she knows kickboxing. We've seen her have sparring sessions with one of the best fighters in Marvel history, Iron Fist, making a bow staff from her invisible force field to use in melee combat to show that she does have hand-to-hand ability despite her having some powerful abilities with her invisible construct creation and stuff. Like I already mentioned this, thanks to Iron Fist, she learned how to blend her superpowers with her martial art ability. Like, she will put basically armor around her limbs to help amplify the power of her attacks. Also make it to where she doesn't necessarily have to physically make contact. Her invisible shield will pretty much make contact for her. So yeah, amping herself with her invisible barriers and stuff, she can punch hard. Like, she legit be doing some Green Lantern construct type stuff, making her own claws to pierce beings through their armor, like in this case with Doom. Don't be surprised if you see me bring up Doom a lot in this video, but yeah, she can make spikes of force fields to use as piercing weapons. Just like creating swords, she can chop you up with her sword shield construct like on some Green Lantern stuff. Even when she's in another body, she can still put in work and handle people, showing her fighting skill. More proof of her fighting skill is when somebody else is in her body that has her abilities to be able to go invisible. She has to pretty much fight against somebody that has the same powers as herself, but she uses her fighting skills and all that stuff put together to still be able to get the edge over such a being. Because she was taught by the very best, honed her skills, and was put up against the likes of Dr. Doom and Galactus. Endless combat hours, simulations, and all that good stuff pays off in heats of battles. Even when she's at a disadvantage underwater,
She can still fight underwater beings underwater and even get the edge. Yeah, it's a lot of lore on how she got her abilities and stuff of that such. Since she's a part of a superhero team, they've went on plenty of Marvel adventures together, saving the world, superhero stuff, blah, blah, blah. Think of her like she can change the size of her force fields. Like she can make it small and then she can make it big to encompass herself or others. But to understand her power is to understand how much pressure can this force field take, or how strong is her force field. One could say she can use her force field like telekinesis, like she can put a bubble around something and then lift it up, because her force field, she has control over it. She can move it or lift it up while putting a shield around it. So it's like telekinesis, basically. She doesn't have to be near it. It's occasions like this, it looks like legit telekinesis. When a cavern is collapsing, she's the woman that can shield against stuff like this. A whole building exploded, the Baxter building, for example. She not only protected everybody from the explosion, but she also kept the air inside the bubble so they can breathe. So we already know her shield can protect against building leveling destruction, obviously. Like, Iron Fist is a martial arts beast, right? But he has really ridiculously strong punches known as the Iron Fist punch that can tilt things that are bigger than most buildings, honestly. Like the entire helicarrier, for example, Iron Fist can produce this much energy. Of course, in a fighting session with Iron Fist, we actually seen Iron Fist blast her with these absurd punches. And they thought she was in trouble, but she was like, nah, that's funny. Letting you know how strong her shielding is. This is basically an extension of her strength. She can hold back a lot of water. Alien warriors can't overpower her shielding. Y'all just get held in place. Same with civilians. Where do y'all think y'all going? One could say whatever her durability of her shield can do, it kind of helps her destructive capacity, because she can like form it into, one can argue blades, so one can say slice open a submarine, like just opening it up that way, or just chop it up. Things that are meant to withstand a lot of water pressure, she can just chop it on up. She's not all defense. Her blast power, one could say, is underrated, because people think of, oh, it's just a shield. She can't possibly be destructive when it comes to her offense. Well, you know how Dr. Doom has like his different robots, a Doombot. We've seen her blast a hole through one. Elemental characters, she can just blast a hole through, like a water being and the wall itself. Yeah, a being made of water. Yep. Like huge explosions like this that level multiple buildings. Yeah, it's literally multiple city blocks. Guess who can shield from it? Yes, her. Yo, when it comes to being able to level buildings, this should be light work. Look how big this crap is. She can tear the place apart with her raw power output. Check this out. While multitasking, while protecting the Baxter building with her shield, she can attack at the same time and destroy ships. Trying to outnumber her isn't necessarily going to help, because she'll just handle all of y'all at the same time and just solo y'all, multitasking, blasting, protecting herself at the same time while also blasting you with her shield. While battling giant monsters, she can lift up heavy stuff, like buildings she can use as weapons against a monster, proving that she can lift up an entire building, basically use her ability like telekinesis and then hit a character with the building. Like this, building destruction is child's play. A great example being this gigantic monster that's about the size of some buildings or houses she can stop with her shielding. Creatures that are building sized, you know she gotta stop it with her force fields. Just from the sheer size of the shields she can make, like making this underwater sea base be covered up by her shields, shows how big she can make them. She did this for quite a while, an entire day basically. When there's like a whole bunch of mines, things that will detonate, she's the one that can shield the entire ship from these explosions, so it shows her might. I mean, we've actually seen her cause devastation to castles in one of her mini fights with Doom. I mean, she can easily rip through multiple floors of the Baxter building with her shield projection, like it's just that powerful. I mean, think of the size of the construct, like making large stairs. She can project a super large force field around this huge monkey. Look how big it is compared to the thing, and her shield is around it. I mean, when the weight of collapsing buildings can fall, she can shield from this mess, so let you know, yeah, building leveling is nothing to her. But then you have big fortresses like this that prove that by destroying it, her blast can level mountains if need be. Yep, mountain-sized shields she can consecutively make. It's just a normal day in the life. Because look at everybody's size compared to it, you know. I mean, something that was able to destroy a mountaintop, she was able to shield from it. It's proven that she can pretty much protect against city destructive type force. Something that was about to go critical mass and affect things for 100 miles. She can make a force field that can envelop the city. So basically, if she can make force fields this big, wouldn't that mean she could just technically make a giant force field the size of a city and then just smash it with her shield? Couldn't she technically do something like that? Pretty much destroying a city? If she can make shields this large, wouldn't it be possible for her to make a gigantic sword the size of a city if she wanted to? If she just wanted to ram it through the entire city, to cut the entire city, couldn't she do something like this? If she technically wanted to. I mean, we haven't seen her do this, but since we know she can make shields out of different shapes, she should be able to just slice a city in half like this with a big giant sword. Since she can make a shield this big, she should be able to make it shaped like a blade and cut it in half. You know, that could be just me though. When this island was about to tilt over, she was helpful in helping it not tilt over. Yeah, and the whole island, it lets you know. This column that was supporting all this island's weight, she was able to reinforce it. Yeah. When you compare it to some of the strongest beings in the Marvel Universe, she's up there with the heavy hitters. Like she can trap Luke Cage, for example, send him flying with her shields. We've seen her construct blast through celestial armor, cosmic S-type beings. Yo, this is not even fair, man. The multiple celestials blasting, she shields from. In this occasion, she protected a whole ship to protect against something very haxy, like something that can destroy space-time on a fundamental level. Like, what? I mean, the different Celestials do vary in power. They're all cosmic in nature. It doesn't really matter which one we're talking about. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain it without getting too geeky sounding, but just know that in the Marvel multiverse, there's different versions of the same character throughout different universes or the multiverse, right? Like, each universe is their own separate thing. Some are similar, some are vastly different, right? When it comes to cosmic beings, their glory and might is so crazy that there's only one true version of them. They have to make baby avatars of themselves to fit in these tiny universes and stuff. The Celestials is no exception to this rule. They're multiversal entities. And we've seen Celestials mess up destroyer armors, you know, the ultimate armor that we've seen Odin and stuff wear. So we're talking about beings that can wipe out universes, blasting Sue Storm, and she was able to withstand it with a shield and was able to punch through their armor and stuff of that such. Cosmic S-type beings. Glad that somebody that's basically a celestial tier, his power level depends on his hunger levels, but it's pretty crazy that she was able to block a blast from him, though. Blocks blast from Galactus here. This may look weird. Nobody knows how this ray stopped. This question was answered because a fan had asked, how did this happen? And it's pretty much confirmed Invisible Woman did this. And another occasion of her blocking attacks from Galactus. Yeah, there's a lot of occasions of them having a scuffle with Galactus. She's strong. She shielded Molecule Man from a blast. Like, he needed her protection. Like, wait, what? Implications like this implies she can withstand two universes from colliding temporarily. This took everything she had, of course. This was like a nosebleed and everything. And it eventually failed due to this incursion. When Earths collide or universes collide, stated in the Secret Wars book. You got occasions like this where this being was taken into the entire cancer, like a universe. Yeah, this was an actual universe being sucked into some being. She had to help prevent him from exploding. We've seen her do basically some team busting type stuff where she blasts a whole bunch of powerhouses back at the same time. Wolverine, you guys know the history of his claws being indestructible and can cut through pretty much anything despite his strength lacking. She can block slashes from beings like Wolverine's claws with her shielding. You know the thing, one of her strong members of her own team, she handled in a particular situation like this, making them all sleepy, along with a She-Hulk level being like Titania and Absorbing Man, and handled all of them at the same freaking time. Somebody I think is one of the most underrated characters of all time. The Thing, she can block attacks from a mind control. The Thing, to show her shield strength, can pretty much tell the Thing and Johnny to chill out and put them in the air and stop clowning around. Contains the Thing's punch here. Mind control, the Thing was doing punches with killing intent, and Sue was able to block these attacks. The Thing hurts his hand punching Invisible Woman's shield here and can block attacks from Hydra Man and Titania, who's a She-Hulk person that we already showed you her handle. Not only can shield from Titania, Hydra Man, and stuff of that such, but she can also use her shields in creative ways to counter them. Like this punch from Hydra Man she blocked. Battlefield removed him. You get tossed to the side. This is a She-Hulk level being Titania, for example. You see her crush her against the wall here, making a She-Hulk tier like Titania sleepy. Can shield from Titania. She has to be a powerhouse. She was a helpful aid, just like Ronan in this situation, the blast through a dome. One of the strongest beings in Marvel history, the Incredible Hulk, has issues pushing against her shield. But it should be noted, yeah, this is a lot of difficulty. Hulk is a being we know can destroy stuff 2 times the size of Earth, like giant meteors 2 times the size of Earth. Even his weakest forms, the Great Hulk form, he can destroy stuff like this. Yeah, that was like this big asteroid that was 2 times the size of Earth. Hulk had to punch out, so it lets you know Invisible Woman has to compete with. This is light work feats compared to what Marvel powerhouses can do. I mean, she is a powerhouse in Marvel, so it makes sense her shields can withstand attacks from beings that can devastate the planet. She's somewhere in their ballpark. Destroying planets in Marvel is actually considered low end, if we're being honest. This is back when Hulk needed to breathe. She can kind of suffocate him with her shield. Haxy stuff. She was able to shield temporarily from 2 beings, like the Hulk and the Thing, punching him at the same time. She does faint, though, because of the strain, though. It shows that she has to be in that level of power to be able to consistently block Hulk punches. She hurt herself running into Invisible Woman's force field. She-Hulk did, Hulk's cousin. What more proof do you need when you have alternate reality versions of characters that are trapped by her? One of them being an alternate reality Hulk. Somebody that be fighting Hulk all the time, Fiend Fang Foom, she blocks attacks from. Powerhouses like Namor, who we know are a powerhouse. There's a non-penetrable shield, a shield he can't penetrate, that's Invisible Woman. There's beings like Namor who are pretty much ridiculously strong underwater, right? There's stuff that can pierce him, right? Despite these powerful things being able to pierce somebody like Namor, she can shield against stuff like this to further show her level of power. Speaking of Namor, she can put constructs around her fist to punch him hard enough to make him fall. Namor punched her shield and hurt his hand punching her shield. Namor and Black Bolt, both powerhouses. She can use a shield to block their attacks. We see her blocking attacks from Black Bolt here. We've seen her trap gods like Ares. It kind of lets you know the strength of her force field, letting you know the beings with crazy muscle even get restrained. Characters like Blastar, she says her force fields can withstand his blast. Proof she can shield from his blast. You gotta love her defense along with her offense. She can make force field bladed shards to attack you with that can damage you while she's shielding herself, multitask style against Blastar. Yeah, don't sleep on beings like Blastar either that she's handling like this. Like, he's not somebody I would call Thor's equal, but he's gave Thor some issues. Somebody that's way above planet-shattering levels of power in general and punches and stuff. Thor's raw strength. Yeah, you see here, this is being known as Blastar using the Cosmic Control Rod, amping him. He blasted and she blocked this attack. I mean, how much evidence do you need? She even shielded from a clone of Thor's, a lightning blast attack. So it lets you know she can shield from top powerhouses consecutively. You got occasions in more recent S-type comics during Immortal Hulk, where all the heroes were trying to gang up on Hulk. She puts her shields up and blocks all these characters' attacks simultaneously against all these powerhouses protecting the Hulk. She has teammates like Johnny who can go Nova and blow away planets if you really needed to. She can contain this kind of blast. Strong psionic beings like Jean Grey herself have issues getting through her force field. You guys already know how powerful Jean Grey is, don't y'all? Her force fields isn't just force fields. It's a lot more haxy and versatile than you might think. Along with making jets to fly through space with, like a Green Lantern construct, she can make her shields soundproof. She can put a force field around somebody to where it can pretty much cancel out intangibility, because when anything inside the force field apparently can't remain unsolid, does that mean if she was to put a force field around somebody like, I don't know, Martian Manhunter, does that mean he wouldn't be able to phase through it or go intangible through it? What does that mean? But then you got other cases where certain beings can go intangible and go through her shield, whatever. I think we all can agree that Dr. Doom is one of the most respected characters. He's versatile in almost every way. His battle suit is basically like Iron Man. His knowledge on top of this is basically like Iron Man, Doctor Strange in one suit. His suit gives him superhuman strength to the point we've seen him grapple with beings like Hulk and even have punches that can damage beings like Hulk. She can create daggers that can pierce Doom's armor or phase through it and damage him. Like, you can't make no excuses for him. This is Doom's base state, of course, versus Invisible Woman's base state. We've seen her blast him back in this full-blown fight. She blocks his blast while tearing up the place. In the process, it shows she can just fight with Doom, damage, counter him, and keep on going. This bad to the point, yeah. She can shield for Dr. Doom's blast, blocking his attack. Here you see her restrain the Thing and Dr. Doom. Yep, another occasion of her blocking Dr. Doom. And, Dr. Doom can do spells because he's a magical person. Sue's able to contain a spell so they can do a slam dunk, basically. Let me stop. Something I didn't mention, but yeah, she can do haxy stuff like putting force fields in your body and then expand it and you explode. It's almost like she kind of fights with morals, but then she figures out it's just a robot. She'll just rip it apart. Like this Doombot, for example, she ripped apart when she figured out it was fake. Matter of fact, in Doom's opinion, when Doom actually had her body for a little while, he said he's always said Sue was the most powerful of the Fantastic Four. So one could say she has the force and she can do force pushes. I mean, not only is there evidence she's up there with the big leagues, with occasions like this already showed blasting powerhouses backwards and stuff, and of course fighting Doom and stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, she can keep her force foot up even when she's unconscious. She's forever like just putting Johnny's lights out with her shields. There's a being that's a powerhouse known as Sentry, somebody that's also a Hulkish centric type being that has literally the power of 1 million exploding suns. Invisible Woman, she made an entire planet invisible while also putting a force field around it. She was able to hold off against Sentry that was going berserk for a short time, even though this was hard on her. This being is mighty enough to where destroying planets is a joke, because if you have the power of 1 million exploding suns, destroying a planet is like a joke. But yeah, this was only temporary though. Regardless if it was temporary or not, this should pretty much confirm that her shielding can not only shield from Earth destructive type of attacks, but also the impact of multiple stars coming at her. She can block from, or even protect herself against the power equivalent to multiple stars. And we know she can make her dense shields into weapons, so whatever she can do like this, she can technically do when it comes to offensive raw power too. So check this out. It's already confirmed she can make her shield into different shapes. If she can make her shield as big as a planet, couldn't she technically make a planet-sized force field but a different shape? I mean, all she would have to do is make a shield around the size of a planet, right? But then reshape it into like a blade and just pierce through a planet and destroy the planet if she really needed to. So yeah, she basically has the power to destroy the Earth as a low ball. That's actually disrespectful, really. She probably could destroy a star if she really needed to. I mean, she's shielded against a being that has the power of 1 million suns, and you know how big one sun is compared to Earth, and her shields can withstand this type of impact. And if her shields can withstand this type of impact, she can put all that shield density into a blade of hers and use it as an offensive weapon. And one could say would have the power to delete stars, multiple stars, something as dense as stars. It just adds up with her lore, especially when you think about her past stuff. Even back in the day, she had the force field strength to keep beings like Gladiator contained for a short time. Somebody we know is way above planet shattering level when it comes to his punches. He even punched and her shield was able to withstand the punch. She's holding in somebody as strong as Gladiator who has the punching power to crack moons with his bare hands and rip or tear black holes with his bare hands. A brute like this she's containing is stated to have the power to wrestle planets from their orbits and collapse stars with his bare hands. He's a being that's claimed to have moved entire worlds with his strength or punches. Not to mention we've seen him destroy a planet in just a few blows. And she can still contain beings like this in Marvel. Now you see what I mean when I say destroying planets in Marvel is nothing? So it makes sense for Invisible Woman to be able to easily blast away planets the size of Earth, blast away things way bigger than Earth, blast that can tremble the sun. Her blast should technically feel like multiple suns landing in your face. Considering she can put her force field density into her attacks, she can make gauntlets out of her shield that should technically be able to do stuff like this. The stuff they can withstand should technically also apply for her punches. So yeah, she can level multiple stars, tremble multiple stars, destroy planets with ease. It's just too much evidence of it. You got occasions like this where people say they doubt that she can withstand the full force of a living sun. Well, those doubts were stupid because she can block those attacks of a living sun. Multiple attacks of these star type blasts she can withstand. There's implications she can make stuff as big as the star, the sun, invisible with her abilities. When they brought this idea up, because they were trying to block the rays or whatever in this particular comic, she didn't sound like that's something that was impossible. The only caveat is that she just needed to fly up there to see what she was doing to get a closer view of what she's putting a shield around or invisible bubble around. She can affect a wide radius. And as you can see, she literally does it. Everything's going dim, turning the sun invisible. She was even nice enough to make the sun go invisible slowly so people won't get in car accidents and stuff. Yeah, it seems to be casual, but it does have a little strain. The ridiculously strong Eternal Icarus she can block attacks from too. I mean, you got occasions like this. I mean, she couldn't withstand a second hit, but the fact that she withstood one from Thor himself lets you know how strong it has to be. She has to be somewhere. This is back before her prime too. This is her early days before her powers permanently increased because she made progress throughout time. There was a whole bunch of powerhouses here. There was an attack that stated by a Thor level being were all dead if she didn't stop this thing and redirect it. So it lets you know she's a powerhouse. Yo, there was these big bang cannons, things that weaponize the building blocks of the universe. She can shield against these big bang cannons. Interesting that they named these cannons after something that made the universe, but that's none of my business. Antimatter null field. Oh, no problem. I can shield from this. That's Haxie that she can make a force field to protect herself from mind control type stuff. She can shield from matter manipulation. Beings like Cersei that can manipulate matter, she can shield from. Her shields can protect against that kind of stuff. Shields can guard against heat, electricity, radiation, whatever she don't want to come in this shield, it ain't coming in there. It's a gas, radiation, light. Yeah, she can block light beams. Like here, it stated she can do a full spectrum force field, block light, heat, radiation, everything. Yeah, she ain't letting it get in. She can even block nanites. Shield can block the effects of gravity. And you guessed it, the being known as Kang the Conqueror, she can shield from his blast. Okay, so there was this scroll. You know how the scrolls, you would take people's powers and use them. Like, this being was stated to have the same level of power when it comes to shields as Invisible Woman Sue Storm shields. So one could say whatever he can do with his shields, Invisible Woman should be able to do, or even better, because this was back in the day. She's probably gotten stronger since then. So we've seen this scroll block hits from Thor. Beings like Tiger can't pierce the shield, block Silver Surfer's board attack with a shield. So in a way, one could say Invisible Woman should be able to do this with her shielding power to be able to block attacks from Silver Surfer. We even seen this scroll contain a being like the Stranger. Her shield blocks another attack from Thor. If you think this is BS, well, we've actually seen her block attacks from Heralds of Galactus too. Blocking the power of Galactus. She wasn't sure she could do it, but she can. Just a small example, Silver Surfer can create powerful attacks or blasts that can create galaxy-sized black hole-looking craps. Just to give you an example of what the Heralds of Galactus can do and stuff, like Silver Surfer and them. We've seen her shield from Herald of Galactus characters blast like Terex. If you believe she can't do what that Super Scroll can do, how about when the Silver Surfer did this, she still was able to block it. So regardless, she still can block attacks from Silver Surfer. Another being that can destroy universes like Franklin Richards, she can withstand his energy output. Yeah, there's plenty of powerful beings. This being Supernova that's about to go supernova was large. She was able to shield from all this to show she has to be up there. I mean, most characters in Marvel have superhuman reflexes, even if they don't have superpowers. Sue should technically be no exception to this because it stated her reflexes or reaction is instantaneous. We've seen her react to meteor showers, deflecting them with her power. It kind of shows her reflexes. She can put up her force field at the swiftness of thought. Shields herself from a laser blast everybody else got hit from. I mean, she's swift enough to always shield herself and her teammates. Even if a teammate isn't necessarily near her, somebody that's fast like Quicksilver, she puts a shield up before he can reach her. Instinctively, or without even technically conscious thought, she can put a shield around herself. In this occasion, making somebody invisible. Even when you catch her off guard, she instinctively shields, like it stated, instinctively. When you have barriers that sound waves can't penetrate, you gotta respect it. It comes in handy when you can make your weapons invisible to where you trick people, catching them off guard to be able to shoot them because they don't know that you have a gun in your hand. She's forever blocking gunfire, bow and arrows, and sending them back. But how strong do y'all think she is? Did y'all know she was this mighty? You probably didn't. I mean, it's impossible almost to catch her off guard, really, because she would instinctively block the gunfire automatically. The potential of her being able to make force fields extremely large. Her creating force fields that can become bigger than the planet itself. Force fields that can tremble the earth, and can overpower beings that can blast with star force and stuff like that. You probably didn't know she could do all of that, and even shield from universe collapsing on her and stuff. The Thing, the best pizza maker on Yancey Street. The Thing started off with a normal physique, human face body like the rest of us. He was a former pilot, but everything would change one day when he was transformed by cosmic energies, and his physiology and everything about him changed, and he became one of the strongest powerhouses on the planet. Decided to turn into a superhero to do good things with this level of power he got, and basically became a member of the famous team known as the Fantastic Four. They all have unique abilities. This page pretty much explains how he became who he was and the rest of the Fantastic Four. He's one of those characters that's underrated for no reason, but would realistically whoop all your favorite characters, honestly. With his absurd strength, he's a brute. I mean, he can obviously hit hard, punch hard and stuff, make shockwaves, localized earthquakes with his hits and stuff, but his lungs are some of the mightiest lungs on Earth that can blow with ridiculous force, like via super breath. People always talk about Superman's super breath, but nobody talks about the Thing's super breath. And characters like Spider-Man Tears don't even try. Night night. The Thing looks at Spider-Man crazy when he tries to hit him. Yes, I'm talking to you, Venom. As well, don't try to get butt with the Thing. I mean, sure, he has superpowers, but one thing I like about the Thing is that even though he has superpowers thanks to cosmic rays, he's one of those rare beings that believes in hard work and dedication. You can make an argument that, yeah, he does get stronger as time goes by, because there's dozens of comics where you'll see him lifting weights thanks to special equipment Reed made for him, working out. The handbooks even mention how his strength has grew considerably. Only thing I would just nitpick is just ignore the word ton and just say he was class 5 and he went all the way up to class 85. Like, that's crazy. Improvement. Him working out did all this. And also him working out mixed with some adventures of him soaking up more cosmic rays. So that could be part of the reason why he's strong, plus his working out. You can also read more lore about the Thing here, for example, but through a lot of different adventures he went through, yeah, he had an earlier form that was weaker, but he got a better form. There was even a time where he had like a helmet. There was even a time where he was like temporarily powered up with a spiked form.
ended up getting another mask later.
I mean, the crazy part is he's literally a rock-looking being. He's actually stronger than what his size would suggest. Like beings like Galactus, for example, are way larger than him on this particular scan. He has the strength to literally lift him up still, despite the massive size difference. Like imagine a baby that's almost at your knees being able to pick you up like this. This steel glass pyramid he can hold up and lift, throw. You know he's strong when he's having like a little fun workout session with She-Hulk tier beings, and they're talking about pressing 85 plus or even 100 tons. And you're probably thinking, oh, that's just a statement. You can't prove nothing from a statement. Well, when you see him lift up stuff like this, I'm pretty sure the statements are real. Pretty sure this is over 100 tons. Like this stuff he lifts with ease. Like look at this flying saucer. There's implications he can lift even more than over hundreds of tons. There was this building that was falling and he was able to keep it up with his muscle. Some buildings can weigh hundreds of thousands or even over thousands of tons and stuff.
Narratively, when it comes to super strength, he's consistently stated to be one of the strongest beings on Earth. In this particular scan, Wonder Man and Iron Man was here. It was this occasion when this entire building was falling. The Thing, who was easily one of the most powerful beings on Earth.
Look at all this stuff on the Thing. This has to be over hundreds of tons or even thousands of tons. There's even more evidence to prove that he can lift thousands of tons when they say he can lift a battleship. These kind of things can weigh 20,000 to even 30,000 tons. We've seen the Thing support an entire oil rig with his raw muscle, which further adds more evidence on the fact he can lift 20,000, 30,000, even obviously lift over 100,000 tons.
I mean, the Thing is swinging around a sword that's basically a building. Like it's compacted. All this metal of a whole building is like condensed in this little section or little area. And he has the raw strength to swing swords around. It's basically like swinging around a skyscraper building with his strength.
As amazing as lifting thousands of tons is, that's still just scratching the surface to really understand his true strength. The Thing himself believes he can actually move a mountain, and I totally believe it considering the fact that he's kind of a rival to one of the strongest beings in the universe, and their muscles are constantly clashing, like beings like the Hulk, for example. Like, you remember this famous scan of the Hulk holding up the weight of billions of tons, aka a mountain? Like, you remember this? The Thing wasn't in this particular situation, but if he was, let's just say he could have done this too. Let's just say he could have supported the weight of billions of tons, the weight of a mountain.
If you had your doubts, he was supporting the weight of an island. He felt like the whole island was caving in on him, so I guess that makes sense. He could lift mountains too. It's even narrated. Flexing some of the mightiest muscles on Earth, the Thing tears back the reinforced floor. Yeah, mightiest muscles. Yeah, he's one of them. I mean, I know what he's throwing right here isn't the size of a mountain, but the fact he can throw a freaking tree around the freaking planet. How much weight do you think he can lift if he can do this kind of stuff?
Dr. Doom's battle suit is absurd with science and stuff. It gives him ridiculous super strength. Despite that super strength, the Thing is able to pin beings like Dr. Doom to the wall. Keep in mind, Dr. Doom's suit allows him to gain super strength to the point where he can grapple with the freaking Hulk.
Like, you see their muscles literally clashing.
He's technically overpowered things that are worse than moving mountains. Like, there was this hydraulic press that had enough power to push through a planet. And the Thing used his muscle. Not only is his body durable enough to withstand the pressure of it, but he actually overpowered such a mechanism. So when they say stuff like he can move mountains, I totally believe it. When stuff like this can push through a planet, he overpowered. It's proven he can lift millions or billions of tons as well. I'm kind of easing you into the craziness because him being able to clash muscles with Hulk this much, and he's not a fleet for the most part. I would still obviously give Hulk the advantage in strength, obviously, but he's like not far off, especially Hulk that's like a decent anger level. Not like the crazy anger levels or nothing, but like a normal anger-ish level for Hulk, maybe.
Notice this part arm wrestle, the Thing actually looked like he almost had him for a second. The Hulk made an excuse saying he's trying to shift positions. Like they're literally arm wrestling where they're shooting cannonballs at him, hitting them with drills.
If we're being all the way honest, the fact that the Thing's muscles can clash with somebody that can lift every planet in our solar system kind of proves or implies the Thing probably could lift planets if he was given opportunity to. Let's be honest, guys. He can lift Earth-sized planets or even larger ones, like planets that make Earth look pathetically small, like Jupiter, if we're being honest. I don't think you realize how matching the strength of a Hulkish type character, why that's so impressive. They're constantly condensing cores of planets and stuff. This is the kind of stuff Hulkish type beings do. I mean, if you want to get real deep, Hulks can support the weight of a star without going flat on their face, and their muscles, arms can support this kind of weight without even being all that mad. So it would be weird if the Thing couldn't lift the largest planets in our solar system, or even something as large as a sun. When one of the most dangerous threats in the universe, say he has great strength, equals I think that's pretty concrete that the Thing is crazy strong. Dude, you can't disrespect the Thing when he's in adamantium chains and he busts out. And in one of his many adventures, he had to get the weight of a planet crushing on his back. And he had to withstand this kind of mess. No wonder his woman feels protected around him. He's out here arm wrestling underrated powerhouses like Colossus. Somebody that I also think is really underrated as well. So yeah, his raw muscle is impressive. With all this raw muscle I'm talking about, it's obvious he can punch insanely hard. Like, Marvel isn't going to give a character all this super strength and they can't use it in combat, can't punch hard with this strength, right? Even Marvel agrees. It's even stated here in this example. Like, this isn't the thing, but it's talked about how a character can press 10 tons. That means they can hit hard to somebody's face. So yeah, that lifting strength does help their punches. Even back in these older days, he's probably stronger than this now, but even back in the older days, he's been working out ever since these older days. But even back then, it was considered calm Hulk level strong in the same category with characters like this. But in this video, he's actually boxed it out with that super duper heavy hitters too. So he's not far off from this. You see what I mean? Right there under him. I wouldn't say there's a super large gap between these guys and these guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's astronomically stronger than normal humans. He can finger flick them out, punch out T-Rexes. I mean, if he wanted to, he can just punch buildings down with the weight of his hits. Look how easily he's able to knock out Wolverine despite him having adamantium skeleton saying to him sweet dreams. I mean, if we're being honest, if his body can withstand literal nuclear bombs without flinching when he's like literally in the arm wrestle with the Hulk, like, yeah, he just ate a nuclear bomb. That should put in perspective how hard he can hit, what his body can withstand, blah, blah, blah. Basically, his punches can shake a city to its very core, and his durability can withstand that too. We literally see the Thing and Wonder Man box it out, and they're literally matching their strength thrust for thrust, like against Wonder Man. The weight of Wonder Man's hits fighting a being like Hyperion, which I'm going to bring up in this same video, shook the planetoid. Matching Wonder Man this good implies he can tremble the planetoid. How many characters do you know whose punches are hard enough to liquefy Juggernaut helmets? Y'all remember when She-Hulk tried to pull up right after he fought it with Wonder Man? To show the Thing's level of power, it's narrated in this particular situation, her strength is almost rivals that of an Incredible Hulk. So obviously she's not as strong as the Incredible Hulk, but she's strong enough. The Thing still is kind of able to kind of roll her up in concrete and kind of win. Similar to what he can lift, I don't see no reason why the weight of his punches would not feel like a planet or planets falling on your face based on the characters he has to constantly fight. The weight of his hits will feel like Jupiter or Earth falling on your face. The way the Thing's durability is set up, he can take intense heat, even if it's Human Torch, somebody that can go to heat of the sun and stuff. I mean, his durability even matches up with his punching power and just durability and such. I mean, they say he's tougher than the surface of a planet like Ego. Like, Ego's a living planet. They say the Thing is tougher than the surface of Ego, the living planet. Yes, this Ego, the living planet, they said the Thing is tougher than the surface of this guy's planet. Like, he's literally a living being planet. I would say his durability and his punching power should be similar to each other. I'm pretty sure he could punch and harm himself. Like, no, I'm saying if the Thing was to punch himself like this, he would be able to damage himself. Yeah. The reason why bringing this up is important is because you can get an idea of how hard he can hit based on what his body can withstand. The recoil. His body can withstand the recoil of his own punches. The Thing's body was able to withstand cosmic raw energy that was enough to cleave the mantle of a planet, split a planet, and his body can withstand it. Even characters being surprised at his power saying he should be dead. How on earth is he still standing? This really shouldn't be breaking news of the Thing being a planet shatterer. This is like literally nothing for the powerhouses of Marvel. He's a powerhouse in Marvel, so this is normal everyday stuff in Marvel. If you had to put money on it, I would obviously say Hulk has the muscle advantage, but Black Bolt still can punch ridiculously hard to the point where narration states he's a close second to the Hulk. Why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing this up because the Thing, his body can withstand hits from this guy. The Thing and Black Bolt not only got in a slugfest, but the Thing actually withstood the master blow knowing how strong Black Bolt is. This is like his ultimate blow, and the Thing still stayed up. Marvel has a lot of powerful steel. There was these omnium steel bars that Grey Hulk and Hercules were struggling to get out of. The Thing literally punches through omnium steel that's 3 feet thick. Are you serious? Just a friendly reminder that Grey Hulk, even in the weaker days, without being that mad, can still destroy stuff 2 times the size of Earth. I'm just saying. He's breaking stuff that Grey Hulk having issues with. You can't tell me the Thing ain't a powerhouse. Grey Hulk's doing this to planet-sized stuff. If the Thing was in the same situation, he probably could do the same thing to this asteroid 2 times the size of Earth, busted apart with his punches. If you still have your doubts about the Thing compared to the powerhouses of Marvel, well, let me continue. He breaks out of Quasar's construct. Hyperion is basically Marvel's Superman. Yeah, literally Marvel's Superman. We see him consistently fighting beings like Thor. There's been a lot of different Hyperions that interact with each other, but they're all comparable. They'd be fighting each other. So Hyperion in general can do stuff like holding planets apart. Another Hyperion that's matching beings like Gladiator is stated to have planet pulverizing force. Another Hyperion that's fighting Thor states he has enough power to obliterate the planet. So now you see what I'm saying. We might not directly see the Thing himself destroy a planet, but beings this powerful, he's literally slugfesting with. And these same beings like Hyperion literally state that he packs a wallop like Thor. They're comparing the Thing's hits to Thor, yo. He's comparing the thing's hits to Thor when he has experience fighting Thor. Matching beings this much, there's no way he couldn't destroy a planet if he really was put in the right situation or if he really wanted to with his punches. He could destroy it.
No bluff. There's literally beings that have the power cosmic, that have the raw blast power to obliterate worlds. They make, I quote, quote unquote, impenetrable shields, unbreakable force fields. Well, so they thought unbreakable until the thing starts punching it over and over again until he shatters it. That's more proof for you.
I think it's insane that the Silver Surfer believes the thing's natural strength is almost beyond his comprehension. It's not until the Silver Surfer had to amplify himself up to even be on his level. Literally punching and affecting beings like the Silver Surfer is actually literally more impressive than destroying a planet, considering star explosions can explode in Silver Surfer's face. His body's skin is so dense he can easily withstand it. So the fact that the thing can affect him, you could say the thing punches harder than supernova explosions. To be able to affect the Silver Surfer like this, logically that's the only thing that makes sense.
The Fantastic Four has encountered some crazy world-ending type of threats that even put the lights out for the sun, threats that push the very Fantastic Four to their own limits. I'm talking about forces of nature, type of beings that can lift entire city blocks, beings that the thing has hit and staggered, beings that are actual living black holes, a miniature living black hole. It's the black hole you're thinking about too, because they say a collapsed star compressed to such a dense mass, it creates an energy gravity vortex of immense power. This villain was portraying all the aspects of a black hole. Yes, this being is a planet-shattering being, a being that planned on destroying the Earth. They talk about this being destroying worlds as if it's just another day in the park. Yeah, it's narrated that this being became a black hole himself. Reconfirmed again. We literally see the thing punch a living black hole being. How much more proof do you need for the thing? How many characters can you honestly say got in a fist fight with a black hole, an actual living black hole, y'all? If you've been on this channel long enough, you know Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, has some strong force fields. And she admits the thing's strength matches her force field. And it's not just a statement, it's actually proven when the thing is denting it and she's going through some major pain. These beings can withstand an infinity vortex that blasts with similar force to black holes. Their bodies can withstand this kind of stuff, right? That doesn't stop the thing from boxing and hurting these beings with his fist. The weight of the thing's hits can affect Nova Frank Herald tiers, Herald of Galactus tiers. These level Herald of Galactus beings can literally go in the sun, make it go Nova, blast it, and have it turn into a literal black hole. These are the kind of beings the thing punches. Like, Hyperion is literally Marvel's Superman, and he's literally boxing out with Hyperion. Hyperion, somebody that can match with Thor. Don't forget that Hyperion is the same being, the different Hyperions that is, are the kind of beings that can survive universes collapsing on him. And he survives everything except him. Like, these are the type of beings we're talking about, Hyperion. Now, does this give you a new perspective on the thing? He's literally boxing it out with beings that can survive universes collapsing on them and stuff. What the heck does his punches have to feel like to even compete with these guys? Hey, they said it, not me. This guy, Hyperion, said the thing's hits feel like Thor. Just keep in mind that bootleg Thor tier S-centric type beings can hit with force similar to the Big Bang and hit with mystical energies that simultaneously go across all planes of reality. Like shaking the universe, shaking universes type of stuff. That's why being compared to base Thor is insane. Yes, the powerhouse tiers in Marvel like Thor can shake the universe with their hits. The thing is boxing out with beings that can literally shake the universe. Look how the thing does execution or somebody you see fight Thor here and there. A Hulk threat by Beast trading blows with the Professor Hulk himself. This being not only boxes it out with Hulk consistently, but it's the same concept with the mighty Thor. Heck, even holding him down for an extended amount of time. But the thing actually one-shot curb stomped the same beings that be battling Hulk and Thor by Beast. Marvel Thor and Marvel Hercules have always been a match for each other in raw muscle or power, strength in general, base states. The thing literally got in the ring with a god like Hercules. Hercules is a being that can literally, not exaggerating, can literally shake the universe. This sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not. Trust me, he be doing myth feat type stuff, like from the myth lore of one of his labors being able to relieve Atlas of his duty of holding the heavens for 3 hours, which in the handbook states to be an immeasurably
infinitely massive weights, the heavens themselves. This is what Hercules had to do. This same Hercules is the being that the thing got in the ring with. Beings that can shake the universe is who he's boxing with. There was this occasion where the thing thought he was fighting Red Hulk, but he wasn't. He was fighting the god Hercules to further prove that the thing is up there with the heavy hitters like Hercules. Not only does the thing think he's fighting Red Hulk, but he actually roasts him, saying, "You're losing your touch, Red Hulk. You were hitting a lot harder than that." He even said, "Some Hulk you are." So that lets you know the thing is insanely strong. Underrating Hercules' strength when he thinks it's Red Hulk. It's occasions like this to where I don't understand how people can lowball him after seeing all this evidence. But I do want it to be known that he wasn't fighting his hardest, saying, because he was acting. Oh yeah, he's fought the real Red Hulk too, though, by the way. Yeah, so he's a beast. Do you see this mechanism that the thing is busting up? You're probably thinking, why is this a big deal? Well, this thing is in the middle of the thing he's messing up. This thing is in the middle of universe shattering energies. I'm talking about Big Bang type stuff around this. Yet the thing is right here in the middle of this mess, ripping this crap up. Marvel has a lot of absurd powerful beings. This is one of them, being a being like the Oculus can project force fields. It's a being whose power dwarfs the might of stars. This guy was a threat not only for the planet, but the different verses, the plane. Like a threat to every plane of existence. A being that has the power to create his own new universe. Like, yo, that's who the thing is punching right here. So you guys know Analysis Negarod, right? It was releasing a ton of energy to the point where this entire planetoid will soon become unstable and open an even larger hole. The fate of the universe hangs in the balance. Two universes, our positive ion one and the negative one. The thing had to shove all this stuff together that was a threat to parent universes. There was this super adaptoid that had the might of Thor, Iron Man, Hercules all combined. And there was a super adaptoid that was stronger, swifter, more powerful than ever via narration. But we see the thing box it out with this super adaptoid that possesses all the abilities of every living Avenger. But yet the thing doesn't care and still gets in a fight with him anyway to show that the thing is a heavy hitter. Without a doubt. Friendly reminder that there was 6 feet adamantium composite that was blocking the thing's path. They said it's no use, Ben. The thing doesn't care and bends it like this with the weight of his head. Underrated powerhouses like Wonder Man he's gave some hands to. Night Knight got in a boxing match with the champion of the universe, messing up Dr. Doom. Look at this occasion with Doom. Are you serious? How do you not respect the thing? Imagine getting blasted by a whole bunch of alternate reality Dr. Dooms at the same time, and the thing is kind of fighting them all. Yes, by the way, he can hit hard enough to do his own thunderclap, and it can affect beings like Magneto, another powerhouse in Marvel. Beings Spider-Man was struggling with, we see the thing easily mess up. Pile Driver, one of the members of the Wrecking Crew. Armadillo. Hey, look. I shouldn't have to bring up how overpowered Phoenix Force users are, guys. If you can take on any Phoenix Force percentage, any character that has a percentage of the Phoenix Force, you know you got to be one of the strongest beings in the universe. This being known as Magic, who's already strong on her own, is literally powered up. And we see the weight of his hits do this to Magic, even though she recovered rather quickly. We see him give hands to Luke Cage. Probably one of the most impressive showings when it comes to Namor. The Thing not only boxed it out with Namor consistently, he seems to do the impossible, overpowering Namor underwater, which is like Namor at his strongest. I just want to give you a friendly reminder that the Hulk has even lost to Namor underwater before. I'm trying to give you a perspective on why the Thing beating Namor underwater is insane. He's invincible in the sea, apparently, but not to the Thing. You know the Thing is strong when other powerhouses of Marvel like Sasquatch say they're nowhere near as strong as Ben Grimm the Thing. We've seen the Thing punch out beings like Sunspot and make him kind of drowsy. Sunspot is somebody that's comparable to Colossus. Sunspot is a being that's narrated that their haymakers can stagger beings like the Hulk. Sunspot, usually he limits his power, but when they needed a Hulk for the evening, he was the Hulk for the evening when he took off or switched off his regulator headband. They said at first he's not as strong as the Hulk, but with it off, he is Hulk-ish, and he was able to assist gods like Hercules in a Herculean task of strength. You assisting Hercules with something, knowing what the stuff Hercules can do, you gotta be a brute powerhouse. And he's doing it in muscle. He's literally right here with Hercules doing it with him, muscle type feat. This was a will that was linked to the planet's rotation, Herculean task, something that we need a Hulk for. They say. That's why Sunspot's so strong. That's why the Thing doing this is cool. You know how in real life there can be 2 fighters? One fighter can be stronger than the other, but the gap isn't so big to where the weaker fighter couldn't beat the stronger fighter? That's the Thing. The Thing admits that the Hulk is stronger, but they said the better question who would win in a fight. They're implying just because the Hulk is stronger doesn't mean the Thing can't actually get in a slugfest with him and hang in there really good. It's not a one shot, but yeah, the Hulk is stronger according to the Thing, especially in recent stuff with the Immortal Hulk stuff, the Devil Hulk persona and all that good stuff. If there was just an astronomical gap, do you think there would be this many panels of them fighting? He's making the Hulk leak blood like this. The Thing gave it everything he had, and this punch right here, for example, it did major damage to the Thing, but this actually made puppetized Hulk sleepy. But yeah, he did fall out right after this. So yeah, but it's kind of crazy. He actually got the strength to KO a Hulk. Let's just say powerhouse level beings like Thundra have a decent amount of experience fighting hulkishly strong beings. And she was told that the Thing was one of the strongest males on the planet Earth. During old comics, characters would mistake who's the strongest between the Thing and the Hulk, but they would realize that the Hulk was stronger later on. But the fact that he's even in this discussion lets you know how strong he is. But like I said, yeah, they found out the Hulk was stronger though. But he at one point was considered the strongest creature on the planet Earth. Nothing super duper flashy, but he did punch Thanos here. And you actually see blood getting drawn from the weight of the Thing's punches. See, the Thing was boxing out with this really powerful being, right? This same being gave the Thing so much respect in their battle that he said nobody has hurt him the same way or the same way he has felt such pain. Not even the hands of Galactus has made him hurt as bad as the Thing is making him hurt. That's saying a lot about the Thing's punching power. He could be exaggerating, but yo, take that as you will. I mean, as part of a team effort, the Thing did help do this to Galactus, so this was like a team effort though, of course. He didn't do this by himself, but yo, that's kind of crazy the Thing helped do this to Galactus. Galactus infused the inanimate shell of the Destroyer with a portion of his own life energy, and the Thing is boxing it out with this thing. And it seems to even get the upper hand over this Destroyer amped by Galactus. He may not be a faster than light runner or anything, but just from the simple fact nobody literally speeds blitz him and he fights some of the fastest beings in the universe. He caught this missile mid-flight. When Silver Surfer was flying, he kicked him. And like you can literally see him moving out of the way of blast consistently. Like, so he's not slow. I've literally showed you him slugfest with beings like Hyperion in this same video. Somebody that can fight at faster than light speeds, obviously. Hyperion is a being that can throw attacks out in the nanoseconds. 1/1000th of a second type stuff. And these are the kind of beings the Thing has to compete with, slugfest with, and deal with in fighting speed, y'all, without getting blitzed completely. And his bulky nature doesn't seem to affect his speed, by the way. There's no way he's slow when Black Bolt is flying at him and he hits him mid-blitz. Him being a powerhouse in Marvel will let you know that he has to constantly fight beings that are way faster than the speed of light. With all this strength and speed I've talked about so far, the scary part is that he actually can fight. Like, the Thing can legit box, and he actually has holds like even jujitsu. You see him using different holds on Amp Spider-Man here, for example. He has knowledge of judo and boxing, they state. I mean, these panels speak for themselves. Right. In this video, I did my best to try to go over occasions of his base rock self, not temporary power-ups that go away eventually. I mean, it's basically everything I said in this video, just amplified to an unknown degree. So his spiked up form can fight the top tiers, but even greater. If base, the Thing can take on beings that can shake the universe, his amp selves can do that stuff, but greater to an unknown degree with the weight of his hits, of course. Heck, sometimes the Thing in his base state will embarrass you and just let you blast him and it won't do nothing with flame, for example. But anyway, hopefully this video proved to you he doesn't need those amps. His base cosmic rays normal self should be able to suffice in most situations anyway. Some theorize that Johnny Storm, Human Torch, along with other energy projector type beings, that they're functionally immortal as long as he stays in his fire form and doesn't revert to human state. Something you probably would have never guessed when it comes to Human Torch is that he can see you while you're apparently quote unquote invisible, because he can flood the room with flashing heat and reveal a silhouette image of you. And he can see beings based on the heat waves. Yeah, he can detect heat signatures. You could say he has infrared vision. He can perceive the world as patterns of heat. Even when folks are invisible, he can see the heat. Yeah, you would think he's just heat, but he can basically mimic the properties of the sun to where he can be a counter for even vampires. Vampire kryptonite by making actual light. It's not just my opinion, it's stated he can make light. He can make light how the sun does, full spectrum solar radiation. And he even talks about that's something he can do to fight vampires. So don't mess with Johnny, vampires.
Yes, Human Torch can absorb solar radiation, just in case you didn't know.
He can even produce or duplicate moonlight in this particular situation, demonstrating it. Yeah, duplicating the moon. On the Fantastic Four team, and the character you think of when you probably think of fire in Marvel, the Human Torch. Just like the other members of the Fantastic Four, he was transformed by cosmic rays. And based on his lore, he was given the ability to control ambient heat energy and the physical ability to envelop his entire body or portions of his body with fiery plasma without harming himself. He's an energy projector type character. In his handbook, when it comes to his heat, they say it can reach 1,000,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which they compare to a nuclear warhead detonation. But in comics, when they talk about it, it's said he can go 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000. They troll and say zillion degrees, but yeah, billion. So he can go way hotter without even going into his Nova mode. He can go 1,000,000,000 degrees. Y'all ready? For those wondering, his suit is made of unstable molecules so it doesn't burn his clothes off. Suit allows him to flame on in space. It's narrated how his clothes are chemically treated and completely burn resistant. The same way how we consciously lift our arms is the same way he can consciously turn his heat on and off. Obviously, he can fly. But while we're on the topic of precision, he has different fiery techniques to be able to make different fire versions of himself, fire clones. In new comics, you can really see how far this ability has come. He can make a perfect clone of himself made out of fire. He can control him, so he can basically be like an avatar. He can be in two places at once. He can use his flame in different ways, like creating a blinding flash of light. He can cause a heat mirage. You can argue he can make a suit of flame around himself to make himself appear larger, make his own flaming ropes to grab stuff. He can literally make a fire net. Like, he's literally doing the same shapes Invisible Woman can do. Even stuff I don't show in this video, he can technically make shapes for. They can technically manifest anything they can imagine with their abilities. Like, he loves writing stuff, making a flame shield to block gas. Even in newer comics, he does this kind of stuff, making his flame domes bigger than buildings themselves. Flame catapult construct, flame saw, a hypnotic pattern to hypnotize you. Flame scissors, like flame hats, flaming waterfalls, actual real illusions that are actually the color of the thing he's trying to portray, missiles, buzzsaws, flaming gun, flaming fly swatter, blanket. I mean, he's like a flamey Green Lantern when you realize he really can do all the stuff Invisible Woman can, but with flame. Back in the old days when the Hulk needed air, I guess you could say he can kind of get a hack suit win on the Hulk by getting rid of all the oxygen with his flame and getting a win on him that way. It's kind of like the same thing he did here to Namor when it comes to this air manipulation, messing up the oxygen, suffocating them, taking away their water. I'm talking about he can make his own literal flame sword construct to the point where even he can make the sword itself not harm the opponent if he wishes. If he wants to hold back and not hurt somebody he cares for, he can blast with heat waves. Like, tell me how this makes freaking sense, but he said he can concentrate his flame so much it burns without the heat. Like, wait, what? He can blast his heat fireballs that barely have any heat behind them, so he could just do concussive blast if he really wanted to. People that get a taste of his power talk about how much control he has over this ability. It's harder than you think. It's been stated that nobody is alive that understands the nature of fire like him. He helped lower an entire block by making it into a gigantic hot air balloon to lower the street safely. You could say he has a little baby form of telekinesis because he can like make his own updrafts to catch people from falling, basically. You could say his own form of wind manipulation, you could say. You remember how Elsa is able to create living beings of her element? Human Torch kind of does similar stuff in my opinion. Like, he made a flaming probing device. Like, what? To where it works like an actual device? Like, wait, what? If you're a fire type or blast power type person, I wouldn't fight Human Torch. He can absorb pretty much fire. Like, he's pretty much immune to fire, I would say. I guess you can say mystical flame can hurt him, though. Like, hellfire can, I guess. Completely immune to fire, apparently, as long as it's not mystical. He can also keep himself warm. That's why he doesn't need to wear that much clothes when everybody else is trying to stay warm. Matter of fact, there's occasions where these characters throw Human Torch in lava thinking it's going to murk him when it actually revives him instead. So don't throw him in lava thinking that's going to kill him. Even if he's flamed off, it will reignite his flame. Heck, even electricity will help him flame back on. Just because you have a lot of water on your side doesn't guarantee a win against Human Torch. Hydro Man, or somebody I would call Water Man, like he's literally made of water and we see him turn him into steam. Or he can turn him into ice by simply sucking the heat out of him. This occasion kind of proves it even more that water isn't an instant win. Part of this is because he's a beast, and then part of this is because over the years he's gotten stronger or better as time went by. He's one of those characters that do improve, by the way. Of course, he's one of those characters that would trained to lessen his weakness effects on him, right? Because in many adventures, this kind of stuff is kind of proven. Like, they've went on plenty of adventures throughout comic lore, and at one point they had to fight older versions of themselves. And it's confirmed that as time goes by, they are getting stronger. It's even talked about, I burn longer and harder than I did when I was your age, and I have a lot more control of my heat. So they are getting stronger and better with their abilities as time goes by, Human Torch included, along with the rest of the Fantastic Four. Not to mention, it's kind of talked about how the more cosmic rays they suck up, they get stronger over time. Their bodies constantly absorb this energy. There's even times when he talks about in his fights against beings, he says, I'm a lot stronger than I was before, than that previous fight. Beings state that his power gets stronger each time they meet. This kind of stuff is constantly stating that they're getting better. Newer comics throw it in your face that he has improved drastically throughout the years. There's even points where Johnny's surprised at his own power, saying, where's the oxygen? How is fire even burning? How is this even possible? We literally see him flamed on underwater. Literally. Fire ignited. Underwater, even in Hydro Man's water, he still stays flamed on. Don't dare try to poison him because he can boil his blood. I guess you could think about it. Couldn't he burn any sickness or germs out of himself? It's stated intense heat can kill any virus and microbes. He literally burns off any dirt, germs, anything. He doesn't need to take a shower. All his plaque has gone off his teeth because of him being able to flame on. The way his powers and stuff is set up, he's not necessarily a brute muscle powerhouse. Like, I'm talking about lifting a ton of weight, but he don't really need it. But believe it or not, his power can actually double his normal strength. So his muscle actually is stronger than normal humans from his heat ability. You're not going to see many parts of the videos where he's just straight up boxing with hands because he don't really need it because he's Human Torch with his blast and stuff. But there are some very interesting showings of him lifting stuff up that he shouldn't, or just him fighting beings physically with just punches. I mean, he even got in a fight that shows his skills off decently when he was fighting this armed samurai without using his power. So it shows he just be boxing or just countering men. These are not just flukes because Johnny straight up said he's not exactly Iron Fist, but he's been working out. And just look and let these scans speak for themselves. Like, he's literally sparring with a martial arts expert to get his skills better. Like this guy, for example, he was fighting him and then he decided to finish him off with a flaming punch. He can amp his punches up with his flame. Notice how every time he uses flames, he doesn't instantly burn people, right? So here's the big discussion I want to talk about. I want to start going over his blast power, but I want to make something clear. You guys know how there is a difference between melting something and blowing something up with concussive force. They're different, right? Sure, heat is a big part of the Human Torch, and you're probably thinking none of these feats should count for his blunt blast power or anything because it's just melting stuff. Well, I would agree, but when something is melting, it melts usually downward and just melts into the ground or something, right? Usually when you see something melt, you don't see it getting blasted apart. Sure, his fire is hot, but there are occasions where you see stuff literally get blasted another direction. That kind of stuff implies concussive blast power behind his heat. Even though his stuff is hot, he does have concussive power behind it. Let's get into that. Notice how he melts stuff like this. It's not no crazy blowback after he melts. It just melts, goes down. You know, like look at his blast. This isn't a melting feat. This looks like concussive blast from blasting through solid rock and wall. But then occasions like this, you can see the blowback of his concussive flames messing up a freaking building. Some of the building melts, but it's literally blunt concussive kind of power being blasted outward too. So yeah, he can legit just blast down buildings. He can hit with hundreds of tons or more force. This shows that he has blunt concussive raw power because this asteroid didn't melt, this asteroid shattered. You see the difference? He can blast with blunt power to do this kind of damage. There's a reason why he's able to blast with concussive force to push back building-sized beings. And he can incinerate a large ship's wreckage, ramming through a sentinel. That's even one of the things I talked about earlier in this video is his control, because if he's not in control, he can vaporize an entire city block. Simply destroying something and vaporizing are two different things. Vaporizing is way more impressive. Like you see all these buildings, there's implications he can vaporize all of this if he's not careful with his power. Right here, for example, it's talked about how Human Torch can torch the whole block. The energy he can produce, like they even compare it to even crazier stuff, like even nuclear blast. Honestly, I would tend to believe that statement when you see all the different occasions of him producing a lot of fire or heat. Like, look at all these different occasions. Sure, some of this is heat because we literally see him melt bulldozers and stuff. Heck, you can't even shoot him with bullets because the bullets melt before they even reach his actual skin. It goes to show how hot he is for this stuff to melt this fast before they can even touch him. Stuff going the speed of sound melt before they reach his skin, even though the fire and his skin aren't that far apart from each other. Like, he literally got a heat shield. This almost feels like cheating at this point. I mean, his durability isn't the best, but can you actually hit his skin past his heat shield? His heat shield protected he and Mr. Fantastic from telepathy type of abilities. Not to mention, due to their many adventures, Johnny, along with the other Fantastic Four, has built up immunity to telepathic type stuff. They resisted fear urges, Human Torch included. The Fantastic Four's altered bodies are resistant to such infections. This magic soul-consuming virus, Johnny is resistant to. These nanites incinerate before they can hit his skin. I mean, we've actually seen Human Torch, via absorption, actually absorb a nuclear bomb, an atomic bomb, with his power. So that kind of adds more fuel to the fire of him being able to produce nuclear-type force. He absorbed it, you know. He has blasts that can burst through a freaking mountain, so his blast can mountain shatter. He's got so much blast power that he can make a path within seconds, like into the earth, thousands of leagues below. Like, he can make a path that quick in seconds. Well, occasions like this kind of look nuclear bomb-ish. Wouldn't you agree? There's evidence he's way, way worse than nuclear bombs. You guys know Manhattan, right? Like, this big chunk in New York is Manhattan, right? All these buildings, like, can fit in Manhattan, right? Like, that's how big Manhattan is, right? There was an asteroid the size of Manhattan, y'all. And Human Torch, by increasing his flame's intensity to near nova force, he was able to shatter something this massive. When there was fire all over Manhattan, he can kind of do the same thing or concept when it comes to absorbing this amount of heat. That's the great thing. He can blast with his fire and absorb it, even if it's a whole lot, even all over Manhattan. I mean, this feat kind of adds up when he says he can literally melt the entire island of Manhattan itself, so it makes sense. And just when you thought, that's already insane, well, what if I told you, at full nova force, a full force blast could shatter a small moon? I would have thought this statement is an exaggeration, but I don't think it is when they say stuff like, he could instantly blast, kill half the population of this hemisphere because of his nova potential. Or the fact Galactus said his power is far deadlier than he ever expected. I kind of believe they're telling the truth when characters like Galactus are giving him props. Not saying he's as powerful as Galactus, but Galactus is a being that can easily destroy galaxies and universes and blah, blah, blah. Not to mention, it's narrated 1 billion times that his stuff can get so hot, his heat approximates that of an exploding sun. When you hear all these statements, you start believing him being able to shatter a small moon. Oh no, it's narrated more than once about him having heat equal to that of an exploding star. Stated here, he can attain the greatest heat in the universe, and he can match the fury blaze of an exploding star, a supernova. Stated here that he burns hotter than a star. That's why he's able to melt through Iron Man armors. There was something that needed a sun or two to kickstart it. Like, that's the kind of heat they needed. Johnny was able to power this thing up. It was him working alongside another alternate reality version of himself. You guys all have respect for Dr. Doom. He's one of the strongest beings in the universe when it comes to magic and just tech in general. The fact he was able to do major damage to Dr. Doom's force field kind of adds up with the statements not being an exaggeration. You know, I have high respect for Invisible Woman. The fact that her shields can't contain him too long lets you know that this stuff isn't an exaggeration. I mean, Ronan the Accuser's universal weapon has been through a lot of stuff, but somehow Johnny Storm melted it into a pile of slag. Melted one again? Blasted Surfer off his board, even though Surfer did counter right after it. Hey, I'm convinced he can blow the planet away if he wanted to. If we're being honest, like when he's able to produce this much fire in an extremely short amount of time, like on planetoid-sized things, I'm convinced that he can planet shatter when he can absorb blast from Blastar and then blast it back at Blastar. Blastar actually has visuals of destroying a planet. Being able to shatter worlds with an S. That's why Human Torch absorbing this guy's power and blasting it back at him kind of proves to me that he could destroy planets if he really wanted to. That's clear to me. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, in this occasion with Ultron, he was a helpful aid in defeating Ultron because he overheated his insides. We've seen Human Torch blast back Namor, a powerhouse tier in Marvel, and also other powerhouse tiers like the Hulk. We've seen him blast. Hey, when your flame is hot enough to actually make the thing feel pain, that lets you know it's hot. The thing's pretty much invulnerable to all forms of heat, basically. Like, there was something that was actually going to freeze the entire planet. Let's get more context for this right quick. Within minutes, the effects will be felt across the world as the planetary temperature drops, becoming what it was 1 million years ago during the Ice Age. Johnny's flame was able to overpower such intense cold with his own heat. See, there was these solar flares because this star that was actually about to go supernova, they say the sun's going in 5, 4, 3. Yeah, the sun's about to blow. And we actually see it happen. So yeah, they were telling the truth. This is the kind of stuff he absorbed from a star that was about to go supernova. Because along with generating heat, he can also absorb it. Like, guys, you know Galactus is a literal planet eater. Human Torch says he can hit with power cosmic levels too. When he goes super hot, the level of energy he can produce. Galactus said the level of power, it almost restored him. What? Like, yeah, let's face it, he can sun shatter. In newer comics, thanks to him being fueled by ambient cosmic radiation, he's not like a Human Torch. He's more like a human star. He's just insane. These people thought that just because they had the power of 2 suns, they was going to give him more fire than he can handle, or more heat than he can handle, but it just ended up supercharging him. Even if you have this kind of blast power, it ain't effective. There was this being She-Hulk was putting in a full Nelson. Johnny showed off his power against this being. It stated he has the power of the sun in this particular scan. Johnny Storm is literally having a beam struggle with Terex, a Herald of Galactus level being. Like, you see him beam struggling with this guy. These are the kind of beings that can cleave, split, or shatter entire planets or a planet. And you're probably thinking, oh, this doesn't prove Human Torch can match his power because he did this with his axe. Well, here's the deal. During this very beam struggle with Terex, it's literally stated that that axe is not the source of his incredible power. That same power is within him. So that same power that he can cleave with the axe, he can do with his blast, blah, 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 that's in him. So he's blasting this at Human Torch, and Human Torch is still blasting, beam struggling with him. Calling Terex a planet buster is like an oversimplification. I mean, look how he's able to match Silver Surfer, and Silver Surfer can't easily overpower him. Even though I would obviously give Silver Surfer an advantage, he's somewhere in Silver Surfer's ballpark. Sure, part of this could have him being cocky, but he believes he could have killed Silver Surfer if he really wanted to. Even if he's exaggerating, he's somewhere in his ballpark of power. The stuff that Silver Surfer has endured. Silver Surfer has survived being in the heart of exploding galaxies, guys. It's mentioned that Silver Surfer's power goes unchecked, he can destroy a galaxy. This kind of stuff isn't an exaggeration when we see Silver Surfer produce blasts so big that he has to be light years away to be safe from the radiation. It's like a literal black hole made by the Silver Surfer's energy discharge that's this big on the Andromeda Galaxy. And Terex is matching this guy's power in general. And this being Terex believes he could have killed Silver Surfer, and this is the same being that Human Torch is clashing energy or beams with. So saying he's competing with beings that can planet shatter is an oversimplification, honestly. He's competing with beings that can delete more than one galaxy, honestly. AKA being able to blast away millions of stars and etc. That's the kind of beings he's literally clashing beams with Terex, for example. Yeah, no wonder he can turn characters like Sandman into glass. The age-old question, do you think Human Torch's heat can cancel out Iceman's ice? He seems to consistently be able to hurt beings that are immune to heat or highly resistant to heat. He's blasted and damaged the symbiote dragon. Human Torch, along with others during the symbiote crap, blasted a whole bunch of symbiotes and the army. Don't ask, Marvel's weird, but this is a different Human Torch. But a dinosaur Human Torch is matching powers with Thor. So, I mean, yeah, they're dinosaurs that got the comparable power of the main Fantastic Four. Like, what? So I guess Human Torch can match blast with Thor if we're to take this seriously. If this dinosaur Human Torch is to have similar raw power to the main Human Torch. He even absorbed heat from Gambit when he was mutated by cosmic radiation. You know Nova Corps beings are powerhouses. This is supernova. Him alongside a Herald of Galactus had to be the ones to absorb this heat that was going crazy. Let's just say he's his own supernova. He literally pulled up to Annihilus, a Thorish, Hulkish tier being, and got the upper hand over him because he's tired of the cosmic control rod. I mean, there was this occasion with Celestials. This is like a freaking miracle that he survived. A blast from Celestials. Human Torch is blasting his being that's got unlimited power. He's going to blow up all of reality, yada, yada, yada. Human Torch harms him. He doesn't care. Nobody hurts his sister, he says. Like threats for the universe, they are constantly fighting. Human Torch is part of this. Now, based on his power grid, he's not the fastest guy in the universe or anything, but his speed is pretty decent. He can outspeed missiles. Like, you know, he outspeeds their raw speed because they're heat seeking, so they actually follow him. Reacts to multiple missiles with fireballs. He ain't slow. Since he's a flyer type character, he uses his flight speed in junction with his reflexes, so he will fly and fight you with his flight speed in combat. Matter of fact, he's too fast for their guns to track, even if they're military. He does make improvements as time goes by, but even during his earlier days, his bare minimum speed was breaking the sound barrier type speed, but he had limits back then. This is more than likely not his limit now. This is evident where his little clones are fast enough to move faster than the eyes can follow, even in older comics. So he's more than likely way faster than just the speed of sound. Narrated to move faster than the eye can follow. Torch swoops in and saves someone. Stated here, faster than the eye can follow. He's gotten so fast to the point where he can make his own tornadoes, y'all. Just from flying in circles. Inhuman tech vehicles can't keep up with him. He's so fast he can fly against tornado winds themselves. Different characters even go as far as to say he's too fast to be stopped. This panel right here really implies he's faster than the speed of sound. It doesn't give no specific time frame, but he literally flies from Paris to the Himalayas in an extremely short amount of time. Like I said, they didn't necessarily give us no time frame, but let's lowball it. Let's assume he did all this in 1 minute or something, just lowballing it or something, right? This would bare minimally be, just from doing simple math, if we assume 1 minute, this will be a bare minimum speed of Mach over 300. But even if we want to lowball it even more, let's assume he did all of this in 30 minutes. Even if we lowball it even more and say it took 30 minutes for him to do this. Simple math, flying from that distance and that time frame would be bare minimally Mach 10 speed. So 10 times faster than the speed of sound, even if we assume he flew from Paris to the Himalayas in 30 freaking minutes. I mean, guys, I'm pretty sure this didn't take 50 hours or 5 hours when he literally flew from New York to Japan in a panel. They didn't specify the time. Let's lowball the mess out of him and assume this took 45 minutes. We know it did. Look at the panels. But let's just, since we don't have a specific time frame, let's just assume 45 minutes. This would still be bare minimally Mach 11 levels of speed. I'm not exaggerating. He's literally flying circles around missiles. His reaction time is pretty decent too. That's why characters like Sandman have a hard time hitting him, and Cyclops blast, because he can react in the speed of thought. He can blast fireballs at the speed of thought. I mean, heck, you want to take it even further. The narration says, at that exact microsecond, the Human Torch blazes in. So he blazed in a microsecond, 1/1,000,000th of a second. I mean, they say he came in on the scene in 1/1,000,000th of a second. This microsecond stuff is like a common theme in Marvel. They stated this again about Human Torch in a microsecond, 1/1,000,000th of a second. It's no wonder he can react and avoid zeta particles. It's no wonder you can't just speed blitz him better than you think. Oh, this speed blitz him when he's flamed off. Well, even when he's flamed off, the bullets are literally mid-flight. He's fast enough to flame on in time and stop the bullets before they even reach him. Stuff like this implies that Human Torch could punch with crazy speed based on how he can react via reflexes. The bullets were already on the way to him and he was able to put his hands up in time. That lets you know how fast his hands are. This is a good example of it on how this guy, he's flying directly towards, he's evading as he's flying towards this guy. So he's got good reflexes blitzing him. He's had to go up against electric, lightning fast type of opponents and avoid their stuff, weaving through all of these attacks, lasers, bullets, whatever, with his combat speed. Like literally none of these lasers hit him. This is a good example of how quick he can move his hands. The way they drew it, it looks like he has like a whole bunch of hands, like he's shooting down all this stuff before it hits him. He's constantly reacting to light speed type stuff like lasers. Characters that are speedsters like Speed Demon is throwing rocks at him. He's reacting to them mid-flight. Energy weapons, after they are fired, he intercepts it, reacts to it with his own blast. Dodges a laser or blast from Uatu the Watcher, a cosmic being. A speedster in the middle of running, he's able to perceive her fast enough to where he can trip her. Silver Surfer is literally blitzing at him, he's able to react. So yeah, he can definitely react to light speed stuff based on the adventures he's always on. Tell me this isn't reflexes. When something is this close, he flames on. Surprise attack from Dr. Doom, who's not slow. I refuse to believe everybody just has sorry aim. He's just fast. Consistently dodging lasers throughout his career. Look at all this dodging. Like, you see this mess? Are you guys getting bored of the laser or beam dodging feats yet? I mean, he's out here dodging blasts from Silver Surfer.
There's implications he can move at speeds faster than the speed of light. There's implications of him when he was circling with Quicksilver, a speedster here. Like, this is hard to calculate because we don't know the precise amount of microseconds this took, but when you can fly from the ground to the sky in microseconds, that kind of stuff kind of implies you might be able to move at light speed.
As you all know, the Baxter Building is on Earth. The Human Torch is at the Baxter Building, but he decided to literally fly off to another planet from Earth out into space. The Human Torch is stated in the lore that he took off to defend the planet's spire. It's a place 44 light years away, and Human Torch just up and flies there? Like, how? Blitzing through armadas. Even if we assume and lowball it and assume it took him 5 days to fly there, like, we know it didn't. Based on the comic information, it didn't take no 5 days. But let's just assume it did. Bare minimally flying 44 light years.
Guys, he's just casually flying 3,000 times faster than the speed of light.
He more than likely did it faster than that, but I'm lowballing just to let you know how crazy outrageous that speed would have to be if we don't assume he used some type of teleportation device or something. A Human Torch can box, he can fight real fast, all that good stuff. He's absurdly powerful with his flames. He can amp his punches up with his flames and stuff to make himself punch harder, give himself super strength. But I've been doing my best to not bring up temporary powers. But if we bring up temporary powers for Human Torch, everything I mentioned in this video already, but greater, is how he can get when he's temporarily powered up. You know, these things never last though. But see, the Fantastic Four was kind of fighting this multiversal entity, right? So yeah, the Marquis of Death, like this kind of being, Marquis of Death treats eternity like an insect.
See, when the Fantastic Four, Johnny included, was amped up by all these beings that's in this scan above, like, yeah, Johnny was powered up like beyond belief, to the point he was able to reach a new form of heat. I'm talking about him burning beyond supernova, Planck temperature. It's the opposite of absolute zero, the temperature where space and time break down. It'll cancel his powers at the same time as we send his army back to their home dimension. It was so bad, it was going to rupture the multiverse. That's how amped up he was, blasting the Marquise in this particular situation after he was drained, of course. But yeah, I don't want to make this video too heavy about temporary power-ups, but yeah, he's been amped up a few times, like pretty much every character, but his main power is just his normal standard self with fire and stuff. But yeah, he's been amped up by Noel, the god of symbiotes before and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Did you learn anything new? Did you already know even without temporary power-ups, he can hang with some of the heaviest hitters with his blast power? He's been struggling with beings like Herald of Galactus, beings like Terex and stuff. He's battling beings like Annihilus, beings that battle Thor, beings that shake galaxies to their very core. That's comics for you. But before I get going, Human Torch believes you should like, share, subscribe. Everybody. Respect the whole team.